Today I'm talking with Gary Beekler. You probably know him as Nerdrotic. Gary has built a media empire around pop culture commentary. Friday Night Tights, Forbidden Frontier, and a YouTube channel that Hollywood studios now quietly track.
Yeah, so Hollywood finally figured out how to read the room. And the room says, we hate everything you make. Nice.
But before any of this existed, Gary grew up in San Diego in the 80s. He spent years running from a trauma that he never shared with anyone.
80s San Diego, has Top Gun, beach volleyball, and endless amounts of party powder. He's running from it, but I'm running to it. I feel the need. Do it or I'll sing Take My Breath Away.
I'm not doing it.
I feel the need.
Fine. The need for speed.
The need for speed.
Gary eventually ended up at Old Folsom State Prison. Not New Folsom, Old Folsom. Johnny Cash Folsom. I didn't know there were two Folsoms. You're not gonna like it. Well, today we cover all of it. The second grade teacher who changed his life, what it's like to share a cell with a double murderer, and how he went from sleeping in his car to building a YouTube empire. Let's go down to the basement. Gary, welcome to the basement.
Why, thank you. That's embarrassing.
It's all good. Before we get started, I ask everyone this question.
Sure.
UFO experience researchers, physicists, and CERN, same question. Hypothetical, desert island, you get one choice. What flavor toilet wine?
Toilet wine? What flavor? I would say...
Pruno.
Pruno. It would have to be Pruno, which is made from oranges.
Oh, you go orange?
Right? Well, I have to. I mean, like, I would have to break my sobriety because, like, I'm dead, right? Like,
right. No, that's totally hypothetical.
I would rather grow cocoa plants. If I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out good. But, yeah, orange, that's the one I'm the most familiar with. I never touched the stuff, but I certainly helped people make it and helped people hide it.
I read about that.
Yes, it's oranges. I believe it's yeast, and you let it ferment for a little while.
Why do they call it toilet wine?
Sometimes you need to get your water from places other. They mostly get it from the sink, but
okay.
I think that's just the term they use. Plus, it's usually hidden around the toilet or under a bunk. It can only last for so long because they search the cells pretty regularly and randomly. So it has to be, honestly, I don't know how they do it. They were able to switch cells, and probably a guard tipped them off at some point, some bribery, but like it's in like bags. It's in trash bags.
It was the weirdest thing to learn about people making wine in the joint.
And apparently it's really strong.
Really?
Yeah, it's like really, really strong wine.
Strong for wine. It's not like booze, though.
No. But when you got a bunch of guys who haven't drank or anything for months, it'll probably hit them pretty hard.
I bet it would. And you've had alcohol before.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Before we go into the origin story, I know you've told it a million times. It's such a good story. When I was reading it, I cried at the end, and I felt myself getting angry at you during it, especially because I know you, and you're a friend. I love you, so I know how it ends.
Love you too, man.
Right, man. And I just want to smack you in the head every step of the way, which we're going to get into. Before we do the origin story, let's kick it off positive. What's on TV or whatever movie that you're liking right now?
3 things have come out this year.
What do you got?
A Night of the Seven Kingdoms was damn near 10 out of 10. Just a great adaptation of a great novella by George R. R. Martin, who needs to finish his other books. It is a really simple tale of heroism and what it means to be a knight and chivalry. And while it still has some of the Game of Thrones aspects of it, it's very linear, and you can't help but root for both Dunk and Egg. And it was a short series, and it built momentum as time went on, and I just absolutely loved every minute of it.
I did too. I didn't start Nights until it was like episode 3, and I started like this, just arms folded, because it's just angry, and everybody angry at
Yep.
season 6, 5, all that Dark Knight, Angry George. I don't know how many days we are waiting for the last book.
Over 5,000.
5,000.
Yeah.
So, and of course, he's executive producer. So I watched, I don't know, I was maybe 10 minutes into the first episode, and I was like, okay, they did it. This is really true to the books as I've read those, and I loved it. Number 2.
One Piece Season 2. Absolutely loved it.
Okay.
Never thought I would like this show. I'm not like the biggest anime fan in the world. When I saw the trailer for Season 1, it looked like the worst thing I've ever seen. I love Season 1, and I love Season 2.
Really? Because I'm
So
not an
much.
anime guy. That's interesting.
It in the same vein of the 3 things I like are A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, Project Hail Mary, and One Piece. And the one thing they have in common is a positive look at the world. I'm so sick to death. I liked nihilism. I did. I liked all that subversion stuff back in the 2010s when it was cool. It is so overdone. It's cooked at this point, as the kids say. Gen Z thinks they came up with that.
Yeah, I know
Cooked
they did.
has been around for 100 years. Okay, just want to let you know. No, but seeing heroes with a positive outlook, seeing something hopeful is nice. It's just really nice, and I love all 3 of those things. And it makes you wonder if they can turn things around. Probably
think-
not, but
Was your number 3 Hail Mary?
Hail Mary. Love Project Hail Mary.
That could save Hollywood, at least for a while, because that brought everybody back to the theaters.
It did. But Top Gun Maverick did the same thing.
That's
though,
what I was about to say.
3 years ago, and they learned nothing from it, and they thought it was just this jingoistic, patriotic movie. It's like, no, it was just a feel-good, heroic story. And the reason we go to the theater, or you have to make this distinction for popcorn movies, for tentpole movies, is to escape. Right? I don't need to be lectured to. There are certainly spaces and times for those movies. You can make them all day long as independent films, but when it comes to, I want to take my family, or I want to just go and have a good time and turn off the rest of the world, that's when Hollywood is doing their best, and that's when they actually put good in the world. They really love to think that they're changing the world, and they're not providing entertainment. They're a platform for influence, AJ. And we're going to teach those plebs out in middle America how to think. Instead of just going, let's just entertain them, and it brings people together. And we've lost that with the division. I think some in Hollywood are starting to recognize that. The problem is, it's like Twitter before Elon took over. The cancer was there, and you have to cut it out root and stem. And I don't think it's possible in Hollywood. I think there will be some change, but I think the lesson we can learn from Project Hail Mary is this is what people want. It's just a nice, hopeful story with a really dark, the world is ending.
Oh, yeah.
In it. And it made me want to watch all the space movies. So I've watched 2001, which is amazing. Interstellar, Contact.
Amazing.
Contact's 10 out of 10. Contact's still the best.
Contact's the best. The ending, it's okay. Arrival, I thought was solid. Let me push back on one thing.
Sure.
And this is not going to be a political show, because
No.
people are going to be surprised. You're not a political guy.
No.
Gene Roddenberry put his politics in his shows, and we love the original series, so his politics are in there. Why did they work?
They worked because they weren't that heavy-handed, and when they approached the audience, it was in a way. If you want to change somebody's mind, I would discourage you going, "Hey, bigot, listen to me." That's not how you change people's mind. The defenses automatically go up. So what they do is they present to you the idea, and they leave it kind of up to you. In a lot of Star Trek, they leave in a lot of X-Files, they leave it up to you to kind of see that stuff. And that's the mark of a good writer. And we certainly know where Gene Roddenberry's politics come from, but we also have to consider the time he grew up, the time he went to, not grew up, but he went to World War II. He's a writer who lived a life. Most of the writers in current Hollywood have not lived the lives of the writers of even 10 or 20 years ago, who were veterans or had careers before writing. Now they're just their knowledge of the world is other TV shows and riffing other TV shows.
Right, and I think Roddenberry was always story first.
Mm-hmm.
So his politics were there. But his politics were just, let's all get along, make the world a better place. But it was always about the story. And that's flipped a little bit with some properties.
Particularly with Star Trek.
Yes.
Star Trek lost its way, and that's why right now, for the first time in 10 years, there's no Star Trek in production. In my humble opinion, there hasn't been any Star Trek in production in that time, except for Picard Season 3. I like it, but...
Hashtag bring back Metalis.
Yes.
I was the same way, and I was all in on Star Trek, all of it. I'm a Niner, DS9. That's my favorite.
It's good.
So I stuck with Discovery for a long time, and eventually I was just out. I was so disappointed, and I never came back, except I heard you talking about Picard, which I started, and I was terrible. And season 3 was that. It was like that they finally figured it out. Now, how did it happen that we got the story that we wanted as Star Trek fans?
Kurtzman and Akiva Goldsman, Akiva Goldsman's won an Academy Award, right? But he's not really, and he wrote Constantine, which is actually a good movie. Not really good at Star Trek, in my opinion, at all. And Picard season 1 or 2 are the Last Jedi of Star Trek. They're so Picard is a broken old man. So it got better because Kurtzman went off to go do The Man Who Fell to Earth. And it was obligatory that they owed Patrick Stewart a 3rd season. So they gave him no money. Basically, the entire series is a bottle series. But he had no supervision, and he was able to do whatever he wanted. Word on the street is he was able to fire everybody he wanted to except for one person. He made that one person work. I won't say who it is, but he made that one person work, and he brought back the crew, and it was a bunch of fan service, and he had to do mental gymnastics to bring back the Enterprise D and and it worked. And the funniest bit at the end, well, they gave Star Trek fans something Star Wars fans didn't get. We had the crew of the Enterprise on the Enterprise D at the end of an episode, just together, the carpet, the lighting, everything. That's all we wanted.
That's all we wanted.
That's all we wanted. And, logic be damned. And the best part at the end was there was a virus from the Borg that affected only young people. It was a mind virus. So that's how they worked it out, where the old people had to come in and save the young people. It was great. I loved it.
Are you getting it? When Worf showed up, I was screaming when Worf showed up with that fight scene. Michael Dorn's just still bringing it.
It's my favorite. Outside of the original series, that is my favorite modern Star Trek character. He ruled.
He was the best.
Yep.
The best moment in Picard season 3 for me was when, such fan service. It was so gratuitous. I loved it.
Yep.
Is when they were at the shipyard, going through all the ships, and you just hear the theme song woven through.
Yep.
And the tears are coming down. I was a mess.
You're like, I didn't know I needed this.
I knew I did. I knew I did, but I didn't know it would be executed so perfectly. It was just such
and it came from somebody who, like Terry Metalis, you can't deny the man loves Star Trek. Loves Star Trek, and probably, I don't know, David Ellison, if you're out there, because of course you watch the Y-Files. That's probably the guy you should hire.
That's the guy you should hire
to run Star Trek right now. Be my suggestion.
I think he might do it. I don't know if Kurtzman's going to get another project after Starfleet Academy.
If he does, Paramount Warner Brothers are done. They're done. They're done as a company. Because that really tells you what the path is. I don't think he's coming back. I think
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
And whenever I hear you or Drinker or people saying Star Trek is over, I know you don't mean it. I know that if it comes back and they give you what you want, you're coming right back. Of course.
I'm a fan. I love Star Trek is part of your life, part of my life. We didn't have a lot of TV, not to age us too much, but we had 3 channels to choose from?
3.
I was lucky because I was in San Diego, so I had 6 because we had the San Diego and we got the LA stations.
Oh, okay.
So, but they all played the same stuff. But it was just Star Trek, Twilight Zone, Outer Limits, Gilligan's Island, like on heavy rotation.
It's so weird you said Gilligan's Island because I was just thinking that as you said, what we watched Gilligan's Island all the time. I don't know why. And the original Batman was always on.
The first superhero shows I watched were George Reeves Superman and Adam West Batman.
Yes, same.
And I thought it was, I was a kid, so I'm like, this is totally a serious show. This is an earnest show.
I forget the name of it. The book is around here somewhere. It's a story about George Reeves and the terror and the horrible life that he had. It's really worth reading. He's a tragedy, but he was a great Superman. So we've been friends for a long time, and I've been a fan of yours. I probably during COVID, so a long time. And I know you've told your origin story a million times. You have a lot of fans here at the studio. And I was talking to one of them just the other day, and I said, oh, man, Gary's going to tell his prison story again. And she goes, what? He was in prison? So apparently people don't know, some people don't know that you did real time.
Yeah.
And
comparatively, yeah.
Well, reading your memoir, there were times where I was actually scared because you're so honest in it you're really honest in it, which we'll get into, really surprisingly honest. So when you establish that honesty very early on, like with what happened when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Now I never know what's going to happen. Like it's like a George Martin novel, right? You never know who's going to die next so it's established. So when you're in prison, I'm just waiting for the tragedy, and eventually things do happen. So I want to hear about the beginning, even before. Talk about you're adopted.
Yeah. I was my birth mom, who I am in contact with to this very day, who's a lovely woman, got pregnant with me when she was 16. She was a partier back in the 60s, and I don't hold this against her at all. She's a wonderful good Catholic woman now. And my sperm donor dad, who I've never met, don't know what he looks like, don't care.
Are you angry about him?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No. I mean, I understand he was young too, but I figured if he wanted to find me, he could find me, right? I had a dad though. So in the dad department, totally taken care of. So I was adopted.
So wait, hang on.
Very young.
If you met your birth mom, you didn't ask about your father?
I've asked about him, but I've never really.
What did she say?
She doesn't know. She once he was gone, he was gone. So he promised to stay with her. The only thing I know about him is his name, and he was a Seventh-day Adventist. So
okay.
Wasn't practicing very well, I guess.
Was he good to her?
Up until the end, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, up until the end, and he said he'd stay. And this would be she doesn't really talk about it a bunch, and I don't push, but he had promised to stay, and then he took off.
Okay.
And he was at the time, I think, 18. So it's like
I kind of get it.
Yeah,
that's why it's okay.
Yeah.
I kind of get it.
Yeah, I'm not. Was I angry about it when I was younger? Absolutely, but I'm not now.
When did you find out you were adopted?
Very early. I think my parents told me when I was 7.
When you were 7?
6 or 7, yeah.
How did that conversation start?
What little I remember of it, my mom and dad both just wanted to, they sat down and go, we love you the same as Terry, but we have to tell you this. And it's foggy, that conversation, but I remember it tripping me out listen, if you're adopted, I'm sure it affects people differently, but it affects you. It does. It's like you don't feel wanted, and you're always thinking about that person who
just dumped you.
What does she look like?
Right.
Why did she do this?
Why were you rejected?
Yeah, and you're trying to deal with stuff like that when you're 7 years old. So I used to have little fantasies about it when I was a kid, but honestly, I never got mad at my parents about it, and other than feeling the abandonment,
When is a good age to tell an adopted?
Boy, I don't know if there's ever a good. I think early as possible is the best way to do it. Yeah.
7 feels really hard.
Yeah, but if you wait too long,
True. It's true. I don't know.
honestly, I don't know a good answer to that question. But it softened the blow with me because again, it's going to affect you no matter what. So, do you affect them early or late? That's on the parent to do that. I don't have a good suggestion for that, but for me, it wasn't terrible.
Well, you were kind of a little asshole.
Yes,
For a long time.
long time.
Do you think?
Some might argue I still am.
Some might. I wouldn't. But you're kind of an asshole. Your poor parents, man. Reading the book, I'm like, they're still sticking with this kid. If they had told you a little later, do you think you would have been a little more chill?
Maybe.
I'm just because there's an undercurrent of anger in your origin story.
Yeah.
Railing against the man, authority, all of that. The anger is coming from somewhere because when you're 11 or 12, you don't really know anything. So what are you angry about? So if they waited,
I don't think it would have helped my anger. Maybe a more mature 12, because I wasn't super mature. But that was because of the things that happened. If anything that made me angry, we can talk about like what happened to me in school.
let's do it.
This is way worse than finding out I was adopted. I was molested by a school teacher. So
How old?
I was in second grade. So whatever age second grade is.
6 or 7.
Yeah. So right around the same time.
That's a busy year.
That's a.
Were you singled out by that teacher?
I don't know. It felt like I was, but I honestly don't know. And he was brazen about it. Like he would, like during we were watching a Disney movie. Maybe this is why I hate Disney. We were watching a Disney movie and he pulled me in the back. And while the kids were watching and did stuff, right? I was about to say nothing horrible, but no, it was horrible.
Of course it was.
It was all horrible, right? So this, if you want to like put a finger on my deep distrust of the government, the system, I don't like teachers unions because they protect. This is not AJ. This is me. They protect people like this.
Yep.
And it's been proven that they do this, and they don't do anything about it. So it really set me up to completely fail in school, not trust any adult, not trust any authority.
So there's definitely anger there that you're carrying. You didn't.
Super
You didn't tell anyone about what the teacher was doing, right?
No,
Parents,
no. Didn't tell. As a matter of fact, I got when one day was particularly bad, I bailed on school. I just walked out of school. And
Second grade?
In second grade. So there's a little second grader walking home on this busy La Costa Avenue, if you're familiar with Southern California, little second grader. And people started noticing that. They called the school. Bus driver came and got me. And I got in trouble. I got in huge trouble for it. And
That's interesting.
And I couldn't say what I was, they're all, why'd you leave?
That would make any kid angry.
Yep.
Because here you are taking the heat for it, and you have no idea what I've been through.
Yeah.
I was angry at that teacher the whole way through your book. I know you were through your sobriety. We'll get to that.
Mhm.
But how you got through that is amazing. I don't know if I could. So, second grade, when did you start becoming a delinquent?
Not far after that. I wanted a toy.
Yeah.
And knew where the spare key was and broke into my friend's house, got caught by his dad. Like all this is at a single digit. Broke into my first house.
I mean, a theme
just because I wanted something.
Throughout your book, you're just the worst criminal ever. You're just not good at it, Gary.
No,
you're not good at it.
Stupid as hell. Still am, by the way. But yeah, I remember getting caught.
Of course.
Yeah. And, I went home and they told my dad and I got in a huge amount of trouble, but it never discouraged me.
No, it
at
didn't.
all.
You kept
Not
going
at all.
back.
I kept doing it.
What about substances, booze and stuff? When did that start?
That started, 11, 10, 11, 12.
How is that even around an 11-year-old?
Well, pot was around.
Sure.
Pot was around, but first time I really got drunk was at Roscoe, South Dakota. They had a centennial. Centennial. And there was like half drinking beers laying around. And I'm like, I just want to try this. Because my dad would let me sip a beer.
Sure.
So I saw everybody else getting drunk. I'm like, let's try it. And I loved it. I was like, so I'm drinking like people, I don't know what the hell's in this can. I didn't care.
You love the drink or you love the feeling?
I love the feeling. The drink tasted like crap.
Yep.
I've never liked the taste of alcohol.
But the escape is pretty good.
Yep. That's where it all started. I'm like, this is for me. This is for me. And then it went to pot, and not too far after that, a friend of mine like laid out a line of crystal meth, which is a lot different now than it was back then. It was called crank back then.
Mm-hmm. How old are you now?
This is junior high.
Are you holding now? You have anything decent?
Yeah.
Anything good?
Nothing good? No. I've got some nicotine things there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I have one bad habit still. I vape. So.
That is not your only bad habit, but that's fine. That's fine.
Right now. No. So, okay. So
where's your crank? Who are you hanging out with? I hardly saw pot growing up. And it's not like...
this was just my friends in junior high, and I was a jock early on, so I was hanging out with the jocks.
Football.
What position? Basketball. So I played tight end, I played linebacker, I was also punter, I was backup quarterback. So I was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I was, for a white boy in like all white boy county.
Yep.
But so he lays out a line for me, and I did it, and then I'm like, "What's it do?" I had no idea what it did. He's all, "You'll get your homework done today." And I got my homework done. I'm like, this is great. It makes me excited about everything I hate. Because school never really worked for me. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who feel the same way. I was, I think at best, I was a C student when I paid attention. But it never captured my attention. This is before drugs. It just never interested me.
This is basically Adderall.
Yeah, people, they called it hyperactive back then. I was considered a hyperactive child.
Yep.
And it did focus me for a little while. It did, but...
Look, I'm on that stuff. I've used that stuff. I struggle with drinking too much. I go sober on and off. I struggle with it on and off. I totally feel all of this. You went harder, but I totally get all of it. And that feeling of just clarity of all the chaos and the ADHD mind is very, very intriguing. Of just like, oh my goodness, I could be productive.
Yeah, and it was the first time, like, maybe there's something wrong with me. Like, I've heard that before, but it was the first time I'm like, oh, if this stuff works on me, that can't be good. I even knew that back then. Yeah. But the fact is, it works, and it makes me focused for the first time. The thing is, though, that's not exactly true, because I would focus like crazy on stuff I was interested in. Like, I would focus on comics and entertainment and all this stuff my dad and my mom said wasn't important. And they were wrong, They said it wasn't important, and I wouldn't pay attention to anything I was supposed to. And it eventually got me out of, like, the things I did love, sports. It got me out of those. And then I started hanging around with all the bad kids, because once I started doing the drugs, I'm like, well, I need to hang around the people who are doing the drugs.
Yeah, who have the drugs. And you're not really going to school anymore, right?
No. I started ditching in freshman year, and I managed to squeak out sophomore year, but then that was it. I got kicked out of San Diego High School.
Hang on one second. Hey, Haley, get Jen in here. Started using, when the meth started, when you were what, about 13?
Yeah.
14? How are you getting the money for that?
How am I getting the money for that? Well, at first, it was friends had the money and they shared it, and it was kind of like normal. I had a paper route, but
Did you get the paper route saying I need drug money?
no.
Okay.
That was normal. That was normal. But right away stealing, like right away. I would get jobs. The jobs came later, like when I was 16. My first job was at Burger King.
Come sit on my lap.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Stage directions.
Okay.
So Gary bounces around a couple of high schools. He's not doing well.
Okay.
He goes to, I guess, the high school for bad kids, right?
Yeah.
This is just a quick scene. Have a seat.
Okay.
From Gary's
boy.
memoir.
Okay.
Your stage direction. I'm the teacher,
All right.
and Gary's Gary. We'll start with stage direction. Interior, Sunset High School.
Okay.
Oh God, sunset.
Interior Sunset High School, classroom, day. The last bell rings. Students file out. Gary Beekler, 17, wiry, restless, stays seated at his desk, but not by choice. He watches the other kids leave with the dead-eyed patience of someone who's been through this before. The teacher, mid-40s, waits behind his desk, jaw tight, until the room empties, a long beat of silence. Then he stands, walks slowly to Gary's desk, and looks him dead in the eye.
Beekler, I've had enough of you.
Gary doesn't flinch. He looks right back.
Yeah, is that right?
It absolutely is. I've had more than my fill of you, way more.
You don't say.
Yeah, I do. I do say, you're wasting my time, Beekler. You're wasting everyone's time here. We both know you don't belong here at Sunset. You're never going to amount to anything ever. And as far as I'm concerned, I want you out of here.
Gary stands up slowly. No fear, no hesitation.
Really?
Really?
I've got the most amazing coincidence to share with you. I want the same goddamn thing. So here's my idea. What if you go fuck yourself?
The teacher's face goes red. He starts screaming, a full-blown, unhinged adult meltdown. Gary has never seen anything like it.
Beekler! You cannot talk to a teacher like that, you useless piece of shit!
They stare each other down, a long, electric beat. Gary thinks for a couple of seconds, then he makes his decision. He punches the teacher square in the mouth, hard. The teacher goes down fast. He doesn't come back up. Gary looks at him on the floor, looks at the door. He walks out.
Mm-hmm.
Fade to black.
Fade to black. That was the end of my school career.
Wow. Punched him right in the mouth.
Yep.
That was a tense scene because I was waiting for him to punch you. I wanted him to. I wanted him to punch you. And that was the end of your school career?
That was it.
Press charges?
No, nothing. I mean,
Dodged another bullet.
and I was partying so hard. If they could have pressed charges or told my parents, wouldn't have mattered. Like, I was pretty much gone at that point.
What are your parents trying to do? Are they trying to intervene, or are they just...
My parents have given up at that point.
What do you mean giving up? They're still letting you stay?
No, they booted me. So
Good for them.
yeah, they booted me. No, it was the greatest act of love my father ever showed me. My father, Arvin Beekler, he passed away in the early 2000s from cancer, and was a great man. And I didn't recognize that.
He was a great man.
Yep. And greatest act of love he ever showed me was to give me the boot, and and not look back. And I'm sure it killed him inside. At the time, I thought he was a complete asshole and couldn't care less if he lived or died. My mom would enable. I was able to manipulate my mom and enable at times when I needed to, but mostly I was on my own, on the streets.
We'll keep it chronological, but just a sidebar.
Sure.
Your story about your dad, I had the same story with the cancer, and it sucks. It sucks to watch it. My dad was a superhero. To watch him get cancer, just kick his ass.
Yeah.
Did Dad ever forgive you?
Yes. We reconciled, and we actually got really close. Towards the last, right when I got out of, we won't get too far ahead, but after prison, we were the best of friends. Absolute the best of friends.
I was so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't believe they stuck with you.
I couldn't either.
All right, so you punched the teacher in the mouth, no charges. What happens next? What are you, 16?
16, and it's just pure chaos. Mostly staying at my friend's house. I mean, all the names were changed to protect the innocent and guilty.
Right. So this is Bobby.
Yes, and we stayed at it was called the Crystal Palace. People from Encinitas will know it. So you'll know who I'm talking about at the time in the 80s. And it was just a party house. It was not unlike the Crass House in the UK, if you're familiar with the story of the Crass House, except there's no creativity. Well, there was some creativity going on, but it was mostly just drugs. His dad was a bartender and would be gone all day. And when he came back, he was just checked out and didn't care. So
Drunk,
completely drunk, complete alcoholic.
So this is perfect.
Yeah.
This is perfect.
It's great. Mm-hmm. We had girls over all the time, and we were not like the coolest kids in school.
You weren't.
But we became that because we threw the parties, and it was, for a while, it was like lots of fun. And that was my like found family for a little while. Of course, it all went to shit pretty quick.
You seem to know pretty early on that you are making bad decisions that you're going to have to pay for one day.
Mm-hmm.
How young did you realize this is a bad decision? I'm doing it anyway, but this is not going to end well.
Yeah, I never thought I'd live to 30. So I'm like, I'm just gonna ride this out. Now, I was not ever like suicidal, but I'm like, this. But I never really gave it a ton of thought about I knew the consequences were there, but I'm like, that's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
I'm gonna get because when it's
the worst one day at a time ever.
It is. That's why they teach you one day at a time, because that's pretty much how the addict goes about. It is just today. I either have my drugs if I wake up in the morning, if I'm not up all night, or I got to find my drugs. And it's like feeding. It's like a shark feeding. You have to have that, and then everything else can happen in jobs and relationships, friends, girlfriends. None of that matters because the drugs are your God. And that's where the disease portion comes in. I think a lot of people fight back on this, and I get it. It's not a disease in the sense of, like Parkinson's or cancer. It's a disease.
It's way worse.
It's a disease that requires a conscious decision. So I think if anybody ever used the disease part as an excuse to relieve them of any responsibility, that's not what it means. It just means that our brain chemistry is different, and not necessarily good. So we have an addictive personality to where, there's just some people who can drink half a beer and leave it on the counter. I was never that person, and I don't think any addict is. And
I drink till it's dark black, till it's gone.
Yeah. But I was like that with my Halloween candy. Like I couldn't. I ate it all one night.
You were instructed not to do that.
Yes.
So, Crystal Palace, 16, 17. I guess we can fast forward to Bobby's in the back seat, weighing out baggies, because you're dealing a little bit, right?
Yep.
Mostly using, but dealing a little bit to make some cash.
Yeah, I was dealing to pretty much my friends or a couple of older people, but I knew everybody. I was never dealing to strangers, or it was usually just my fellow teenagers.
Just part of the party.
Yeah, yep.
So
I was terrible at it. I was awful.
So Bobby's in the back. You're driving. This is your Oldsmobile?
Yeah, 67 Oldsmobile. It was sweet. 22,000 miles on it. It was a sweet car. Got it from a little old lady who was a neighbor of my grandma.
Always the little old ladies where the good cars come from.
Yeah.
Didn't end well for the olds either. So you're driving the olds. Bobby's in the back weighing out baggies. Whoop, whoop. Here we go. And you didn't get into it too much, but you knew this lady cop.
Yes.
How did you know her?
She had busted us on enough times for like curfew, and just little minor stuff, but little scraps here and there. But we used to hang out at Pinball Plus. It was a arcade. It was there was not much to do in Southern California in the 80s. In San Diego, it is suburbia. So if there is an arcade, that's where every kid's going to go. And that's what we did.
Same.
So they started enforcing a curfew. So that's how we knew each other. And she really hated me, but I had
she hated you because of your attitude.
Yeah, my attitude was shit. Like
Right.
she had a good reason to. It's not like she didn't.
Because this anti-authority thing goes through all this, right?
Yes.
She's the man. So she knocks on the window and says, hey, Gary.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you were, hi, officer.
Hello.
And?
And well, there's the Batman handcuffs, right? So
That's right.
Yes.
Is that why you got pulled over?
I got pulled over for Batman handcuffs hanging off my rearview mirror as an
That's
obstruction. But
obstruction.
she saw me and found an excuse. And yeah, so we got busted. And
now, hang on. She tossed the car.
Yeah, tossed it.
You said she found the meth, and it was like she hit the lottery.
It was the greatest day of her life.
Absolutely. She's been waiting for this all
Scale.
summer long. Scale. Intent
Meth.
to distribute.
Yep. A scale. I told him to keep it fucking home, but he didn't. And that was the first time I really went to jail. No, that's it. Yeah, that was. I went for a couple weeks, 3 weeks.
No, hold on a
months.
second. You go in, you get booked. I come from a cop family. I know how this works.
Yeah.
You get booked, you get separated, and they want to know the story when they're writing you up. Bobby fingered you, yeah?
Yeah, he did.
Because you were just driving.
I told the truth. I was just driving. But nobody's gonna believe that it wasn't mine. But it really wasn't. But he's all no, it was his.
So
Yeah.
you didn't snitch.
I
Bobby
didn't.
did.
Bobby did.
And you go to jail?
Yeah. And this is the first time. So we're in San Diego County Jail, and it's down near Union Street downtown.
Are you
C Street?
Are you nervous? Are you frightened?
Oh, totally. Like this is like what the hell is going on? And then we're
Do you show it, or you try to be tough?
I tried to be tough. Don't know how much I pulled it off. Luckily, the chaos of the place probably kind of hid that because it was just a big dorm, right? And it was a big receiving dorm.
You didn't know at this point that this is nothing.
Oh, no clue.
Nothing.
No clue. Got out of that one.
Well, how did mom and dad handle that?
Not very well, but my dad got a lawyer and said, "This is the one time I'll help you."
If I remember correctly, you technically got the lawyer, right?
Yeah. Well, yes.
What did he say through the glass?
Oh, the lawyer?
Yeah.
Well, do you know what I had to give up to get this lawyer? Right.
I do. They don't.
Okay. I had to give up an Oldsmobile.
The Oldsmobile, the 67 Old. Because your dad said, I'm going to get you this lawyer, but you're going to pay for it.
Yes.
And you said, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Of course.
Of course.
For freedom.
For freedom.
I didn't even think twice about it. I mean, it hurts now because I'm like, maybe I could have stayed in an extra week. But I had to give up that. And like the engine was spotless, dude. Like the painting on the, I'm going to have to go off memory, but it said Spitfire engine on it. It was painted in red, and it was all original and was all still there.
What was it, a 350?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was 350. So your dad must have been so proud. His baby boy found his way. All problems are solved.
No, Dad was not happy about any of this. And they, you got to get clean. They did all that stuff. And I just kept partying. I just, once I was out.
And still booze and meth, right?
Booze and meth. It became more meth. I was way more into speed because, like, I don't know. I smoked pot. I drank, but anything that kind of makes you feel tired, I was never really into. What's funny is like, well, it's not funny.
You and I would have got along so well.
Yeah.
I would have been a great customer.
Oh yeah. When I could find like alternatives, I never like in the early days maybe did coke a couple of times. That's later. But we found like Dexedrine and the diet pills and stuff. Like, oh yeah.
I'm familiar.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Love that stuff.
Me too. So now you start breaking into houses, right?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty regularly. Cars and houses.
Cars and houses. And there was one that was so stupid. So stupid. It was so heavy. Can you tell that story?
Well, is this okay? Well, there's
the
a lot of them are still the one with the pennies. Okay. So this is This is so retarded. Okay. This shows you the insanity of drugs. I can't remember who I was with now. Some guy who looked like he was in the Allman Brothers, right?
I figure you guys all look like that.
Yeah, and I'm half the people I'm hanging with at this point, I don't even know. So I get this great idea that we need money. I had none, but I know for a fact that my neighbor has the water bottles when they were glass. I think some of them still are. I had one filled full of pennies. And I'm like, well, there's got to be $100 in there, a couple $100 maybe, you know. Didn't think very much about like how heavy it would be. Right?
Right.
So I knew how to get in their house, and I'm a genius. I cut a hole in the chain link fence to thinking.
You're just providing a trail of evidence.
Yeah, providing a trail. I might as well have just like left breadcrumbs out and said, "This is Gary."
I wish I could see your face when you go to grab the penny and you go, ugh.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh
shit.
This is really heavy.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like in the best shape of the world. So I get away with it for a little while, but then eventually I get caught. Yeah, but I went and lost a year of my life.
You did a year for the pennies?
For the pennies. A water bottle full of pennies.
Still county?
Still county at this point. So I went to.
Is this before the Porsche incident?
Yes.
Oh
yes.
God. Okay.
So it was. Yeah, I did county jail, and this is the fire camp and all that. So you're like almost a volunteer fireman while you were in there. Yep.
Serving the community, getting exercise outside, and you still screwed it up.
Absolutely screwed up almost immediately. I was in the best shape of my life. I got hurt, so I was able to manipulate that
you got
injury.
Hurt? How did you get hurt?
I broke my tailbone.
The first time.
Yeah, I broke my tailbone.
How?
Fucking around. I was walking down a mountain, and I was like pretending I was skiing. I was and I slipped and busted my tailbone. But I was able to like manipulate that into getting into a halfway house, right? So the last little bit of my sentence wasn't too bad, right? I got to go out once in a while.
So you get out. We'll fast forward a little bit. You
Yeah.
go back to using, dealing, all of that, and
Mhm.
I forget how the chapter started, but the chapter started something like, "You thought it would be a good idea to get a gun, and I've got an idea how to get one." And
Yes.
I went, "Oh no!"
I never had a gun, and I was like, "This is how stupid it is." So I didn't need to do anything.
You didn't fear for your life?
No. I had a bunch of money.
Yep.
I had a bunch of drugs.
Yep.
All I had to do was get high and have fun. I'm like, I know a good way to screw this up.
Sure.
I need a gun. So I'm going to go to an ex-girlfriend's house to her dad's got a gun collection. I'm going to break in while they're there. Because I'm bored. Whatever was behind that. It wasn't like suicide, or it was like I'm going to off myself. No, it was just like, I want a gun.
Never rob a gun guy's house.
No.
Go on.
That's really dumb. So I get in.
You get into the garage, right?
I get in through the garage on the side door and go into the house, and there's a little dog. So little dogs are the absolute best security. Big dogs, you can feed them or pet them, and like some of them, not all, but little dogs will just bark and bark and bark and bark. This little shit dog was barking like crazy. So I'm like, okay, I gotta pull the eject on this one. I gotta get out of here.
But hold on just a quick second.
Yeah.
A little bit of a real Gary shows through here, because in your book you say you
Oh,
thought
yeah.
for a second about killing the dog.
Yes, I could have just like strangled the dog,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
at that point it wouldn't have mattered because I could probably strangle it and he would have stopped barking.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no way I'm going to kill a dog. There's
gonna
just
kill a
no
dog.
way in hell I was going to kill a dog.
So
it's like, okay, time to go. And went through the garage door, and this is where like you start thinking about higher power and fate. The door I just used to get on the side door for the garage, the door handle falls off. It just falls off.
it's so cinematic, this story. Go on. So
And-
you're stuck in
And
there.
I hide under a Porsche. There's not a lot of room to hide under.
No.
And her dad has got a gun in my, pulls me out.
So but you see the feet, right?
I see the feet.
This is like in a movie.
Yeah. And then, he can see me too. So,
Of course,
yeah.
he knows what's going
Yeah.
on.
So I get out, I see the feet. I'm just waiting to get, I guess I'm not getting out of this one. Right. And then I've got a gun in my face.
Did he recognize you, no?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, hey, Gary, now there's a gun on your face.
Now there's a gun in my face, and he's mad as hell, and his hand is shaking, and you can see the bullets in the chamber, and I'm like, oh, shit. And I got my life saved by a cop. A cop. They called the cops, and I didn't get shot in the face. And I'm sure the cop's like, he's on the Navy pistol team. That guy could have shot you from 50 yards right between the eyes.
He probably wanted to.
Probably wanted to. And I ended up writing him a letter later on. So
During your recovery?
yeah, during my recovery.
That was like a make amends type of thing?
Yeah. Never heard back, but I'm sure he got it.
That's what's important.
Yeah. But that was when I went in for a long, because I had the prior.
Now you've got priors, and now I guess it's a hot prowl. So B&E,
It's a first degree burglary.
first degree burglary, yeah. So I guess you go to county for booking, but you were not going to stay in county.
No. This was, I go into county until we, sentencing and everything, and then it's off to prison. You get a little bit of time served from your time in county, off to prison.
Before you go to prison, you're in county, and just talk a little bit about that, because I remember there was a dude in there who gave you advice that was kind of interesting. Because there's the fear of prison, and you're going to all these places, but there's also a weird brotherhood and camaraderie and kind of looking out for each other sometimes.
Yeah.
And this guy gave you advice. I thought was very strange, but it worked out.
Yeah. Maybe I was 22 at the time. So I looked like a pup.
Yeah.
And somebody took sympathy on me and just like, hey, you're going to go to prison. Here's some rules. They're pretty basic rules, and I'll paraphrase what's in the book. I'll try to keep it,
Take your time.
politically correct. But it was, don't mess with gambling.
Mm-hmm.
Don't mess with the gays. That's not the word he used.
No, hold on a second. I think that advice is before you go into Folsom. I'm talking about the guy who said you're going to get a plea deal. Take it.
Oh yeah.
That guy.
Okay. Sorry. So yes, I'm going to get a plea deal. Absolutely take it. Don't fight it, because if you don't, you will end up doing a lot more time.
So he says, go in there, be cool,
Yeah.
and you'll get out.
Yep. Just take your time. There's no way fighting this. You're going to prison. I knew that. And we were looking at it. I got the mid sentence. So I got everything he said I was going to get.
What'd you get?
I got 4 years, but you do 2.
How did you feel when you turned around at the courthouse and saw mom and dad sitting there?
Horrible. It was the worst feeling in my life. Looking at your parents in the face after you get sentenced to 4 years in prison, and they adopted you, they raised you.
Did your father look at you?
Yeah, it was pretty shameful. They look crushed.
Yeah, because they stood by you through all of this.
But it was, that was tough, man. That was not good. And then getting in that bus, and
You're on the bus for hours and hours.
hours, and like shackled up.
It's just like what you think is in the movie is how this is. Just as bad as you think it is how this is. And when did you find out you were going to Old Folsom?
Oh.
You're going to the Johnny Cash
So
Folsom.
yeah, I got ahead of that. Sorry. It was
Because you're not supposed to go there, I don't think.
No. They were doing something they shouldn't have been doing, but it's due to overcrowding. So I stayed. Donovan was a receiving facility in San Diego. I got stuck there for 4 months. You usually stay there for like a month, and they farm you out. I was a level 2, so not considered. Even though first degree burglary is considered a violent crime. I was not considered violent in the sense of armed robber or murder or rape or any of the horrible ones. Those are level 3, level 4. So I find out I'm going to Folsom, and there's 2 Folsoms. There's New Folsom at the time, there still is.
Is that first facility, is that El Cajon?
Donovan. So it's east of El Cajon. It's like in Otay Mesa.
No, but El Cajon was a facility you were in, right?
So El Cajon was a county jail. I
Oh,
was in.
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
El Cajon that's the one where there was the breakout.
Oh, yeah, you were
yeah.
there for the breakout.
Quick little
Go for
side
it.
story here. So there's the biggest building in El Cajon, California, which is the Box, which is which I mean that's what it, and it's in the eastern part of San Diego. So it's not probably all the houses are $1 million houses there now, but at the time wasn't looked at as the nicest place in the world. So the Toss building was the jail, and apparently the contractor like cut some corners and didn't reinforce the walls with whatever they're supposed to reinforce with concrete or steel or whatever. So it was just stucco and framing.
Oh, no.
And somebody figured it out.
Someone just knocked on it and said, that feels pretty hollow.
Oh yeah, pretty hollow. So let's break off the bottom of our bunk and just punch a hole in it. And you can look it up. It was in the 80s, the big breakout that got it closed. And I was there.
You saw them escaping, right?
Yeah.
Did you think, hey, I'm going to get in on that?
I thought about it for a second. And then I'm like, well, for one, that's a long way down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm just gonna do my thing. That was first time around. So I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I did. Listen,
they caught everybody, didn't they?
They caught everybody, and one of the guys busted his leg because they did the whole tying the sheets together crap.
Really?
Yeah, they did because it was up there.
Yeah.
It was like I can't remember the exact amount of stories, but it was at least 5, right? And they caught everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then they shut down the jail. The problem was they locked us down after that for 2 weeks, and they weren't feeding us all the time.
So what does lockdown really mean?
Lockdown is you are in your cell. You don't get out.
With one cellie?
No, with like 6.
So you're there with 6 guys for weeks, being fed through the bars. One toilet.
Supervised shower like once. I think we got 2, right? Supervised shower.
Oh, it's just rank.
It was rank. So I remember eating ketchup packets because that's all I had to eat. And we had Uno.
You just played Uno?
We just played Uno. And had one book. I think one book between us. It was terrible. It was terrible.
At least it wasn't magic. You don't do that.
Right?
It could always be worse.
But yeah, so on the prison side, go to Folsom, and we find out that they're doing this transition thing. So they're turning old Folsom into a level 2, and they're removing all the level 4 guys, and they're putting them up to Pelican Bay.
And level 4 guys are the hardcore.
They're murderers, rapists.
And they're going to throw you pups in with them.
Worst of the worst, and they did. Yeah, so we had level 2s in with level 4s, which is you're just not supposed to do that. Because the last thing a guy with a life sentence wants to hear is the stories from a guy who's going to get out in a couple of years. That's a recipe for disaster.
Well, you're walking in shackles, chains, and you've got your long hair.
Yep.
And I guess, is that your first prison taunt?
Oh yeah, yeah.
This is just like the movies, man.
In Donovan, never really got any shit. I think everybody in the receiving part is just kind of like pins and needles waiting to figure out where to go. So, and it's way more supervised. It's like max there because you are mixing in all the levels but it's you spend most of your time in your cell. It's not a ton of yard time. And I never spent much time in the yard, but when I walk into Folsom, got my beautiful long blonde hair, and shows you how much I've aged. And guy goes, "Hey Goldilocks, you want my sack lunch?" I'm like, I need to cut my hair, and it was right when I walked, so I knew it was to me. By the way, like of course they had us in a line, and then we're feeding them in, and like there's this big just wall of cells.
How you're terrified, and now you go up to 11?
Yeah, 12.
Because
beyond terrified, and
I don't know
it doesn't really stop.
But it doesn't. Sound...
Oh, it's balls. It's your balls.
No, okay. So now you're going through the rules that someone told you. Here, you're going gladiator school, as you called it.
Yep.
Oh God, which it was. So now you're going through the rules, right? And you got to get rid of the hair.
Got to get rid of the hair.
And what are some of the rules you're thinking as you're?
So the rules I was told that I was referring to earlier are: do not gamble, do not mess with gays, no problem. I have no interest in those.
Just be polite and leave them alone.
Do not do drugs. Do not mess with any drugs. And at that point in my life, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to mess with any drugs. I had already decided, like, if I survive this, I'm done. I cannot do this. And then do not snitch, no matter what. And if you're going to fight. You have to fight. You can't back down from a fight.
Right. Don't start trouble.
Don't start trouble.
Don't take it.
But don't take it. Yep. But the most important one of them all is don't snitch, or you will die.
Bobby.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I don't mean to drag it out, but it's fascinating.
It's okay.
So sack lunch. How do you get it? You have to get your hair cut in like 30 yards. You have 30 yards to solve this problem.
Cut immediately. It was for a pack of smokes. It was a terrible haircut, but it did the job. It's like,
didn't the guard help you?
Yeah.
Help you grab scissors or something?
Yeah. So I mean, there is some humanity in there, right? Like they see this little pup and it's like, this guy's going to get shredded in here. So that's my best guess, but I got my hair cut. I got help. Guards aren't always helpful though. Okay. Just keep that in mind. They're humans. So there's some good ones and there's some pieces of crap in there. And I spend the next, I'm behind the wall for a good year, right? So
well, one of the rules was don't go to the yard, don't go to the gym.
Yeah, which I did not do.
But there were some times that you had to get away from your first cellmate because when you land in the room with him, how does that go down?
Oh, it's bad. It's bad
with Kyle. What's he like?
Yeah. He's double murderer. He's a piece of crap.
What did he look like?
He was just like a kind of a flabby but big white dude. Mm-hmm. It's brown hair, little grayish, but he was not old. He was not that old.
I'm just trying to feel how imposing he is for
He's
for a
bigger
skinny
than
kid.
me. He's bigger than me for sure.
So how's that first meeting go?
Scared to death, and he just gives me the rules and pretty much tells me, I don't want to hear from you. He has this TV and I'm like, well, maybe I could just wait this one out. But it didn't work out.
Well,
that way.
he didn't like. He's a level 4. This guy.
He's a level 4,
and he doesn't want to hear about you getting out in 2.
Nope. So I was really good at being quiet when I needed to be.
What were you doing to kill time?
Mostly reading books.
Because there was another rule about staying sane, wasn't there?
Yeah.
What was that?
Find
a routine.
Yes. Fine. Okay. Yes.
Stick to it.
So the thing about the best advice I heard is, and like people do this in prison all the time, so I didn't invent it. This is just passed down, is find a routine. You get up at the same time. You kind of do the same things every day. And what it does is it helps you feel accomplished because we as humans need to feel some accomplishment. So I found a little routine that worked in behind the wall. And then when I went on, and it really helps the time go faster. It keeps you busy. So you're not sitting there. You need to have that routine. So you're not sitting there just tripping all the time.
You talk about how Kyle was like mentally torturing you this whole time. What was he doing? Because he wasn't physically abusing you.
No, he was just always.
What was he? Because you write about how it was just constant. He was just always just messing with you.
Always messing with my head. Always.
Like how?
He would always question like everything I was doing. Like, what are you reading? What's your problem? He would never let me have peace, right? Because I would try to mind my own business and stay there. And he'd always try to start some weird conversation that would go to a weird place and ask me weird questions and then bring up like his crimes, and what he did.
And you knew he was just trying to torture you.
Yep. Trying to fuck with me all the time. Then he'd be nice a little while, and then it would flip, but you bring up the Pruno, right? We can talk about when.
Go ahead.
I don't want to get too far ahead, but.
No, I know when we're going to take our break.
Oh, yeah. So.
Keep going.
He was making some Pruno and hiding it, and he was gone. And the guards are coming in to do an inspection, and I'm there because I don't go out very much.
Right.
So I dumped it.
You dumped his Pruno.
Yep.
Did you know that decision? Did you? How long? Well, you know what you're doing. You know you're going to have to deal with this.
Yeah.
But you figure what? You're saving him?
Yes.
Or are you like, this is gonna go sideways?
This is this at my decision making at the time was not really even a cover. It was cover both of our asses, right? But it was
because you were going.
Yeah, because I'm there, so I'm going to get caught with it, and he's the cellmate, so he's going to get busted too. And there's all this stuff going through my head, where you think about the snitching thing, right?
Right.
It's going to make me either way look like a snitch. So I'm
And you're watching them toss cells, getting closer as you're doing this.
So I'm like, I'm going to dump this stuff.
And Kyle, by the way, is out in the yard lifting weights.
Yeah, lifting weights. So I got rid of it, and it's gone by the time the guard's there. I saved his ass. His ass.
Yeah.
His ass. Wasn't exactly grateful about that at all. And wanted me to repay whatever it was owed, whatever that value of that Pruno was, and did not let me forget it.
So
ever.
He wanted you to put money in his account, right?
Money on his books.
Money on his books. $20 for the Pruno. I want it. You did it.
Yep.
And thought it was good. And I don't know how soon after that, but he said, I need $20.
Yeah, it just became the, I need 20 more. And then once you capitulate a little bit, that's just the way it is. And this is part of like, don't be a bitch.
That's right.
Right? This is part of don't be a bitch. And I should have said, fuck you, at that point, and probably fought at that point.
Well, you didn't give him 20 more, right?
No. And it got worse.
It gets worse. And you get back to the cell and he's going through your stuff.
Yep.
What's he doing?
He's going through mom's, my letters. He's going through my letters.
And this whole time, parents are supporting you. They're putting money on your books. You're covered.
Yep.
You have support from the family. This guy's got nothing. He hates you.
He hates everything about me. He hates the books I read. I mean, like he gave me shit for books I read.
He wanted you to fight.
Oh, he's been trying to taunt me to fight the whole time. And he finally got what he wanted. So he's going through my letters. My parents and I, by the way, are contacting, and they're sending me like little care packages and making sure I'm okay. They're worried to death because they know I'm in this Folsom prison. So they're trying to work outside with a couple of other people trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. Right. To no avail, by the way.
Right.
And he's like, I like your mom's handwriting. I like your mom's handwriting. I think I want to write your mom. And I just fucking lost my shit. Absolutely lost my shit. There.
He demands you to tell your mom to start writing him as well.
Mm-hmm.
And now you feel it. All men feel this. Things go quiet. You hear the boom, boom in your ears. And you're not going to take it anymore.
No. To hell with it, whatever happens after this. Like this is, and it had been building up, like you said, like just with the constant like poking. And some of it would just, in isolation, it wouldn't be that bad. But when you're living, think of the worst roommate you've ever had, but he's also a murderer.
Right.
That's what it is. A guy who like steals your food or I don't want to get too crass in there. Just when you're in a cell with somebody and they're going to the bath, it's just the worst. It's the worst. And
so the blood's in your ears and
everything's going,
and it's going to go down. So we're going to take a quick break.
Yeah.
We'll find out how you handled it.
Okay.
Be right back. It's the standoff now.
Okay.
Not going to take any more. He's going. Mama's not going to write him a letter, right?
No, over my dead body.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's where I was at. Had a little Walkman.
Yep.
Because you were allowed, like, believe it or not, even in max prison, you can have a TV, you can have a Walkman, you know.
You were getting comics and stuff.
Yeah, you can get comics and books, and cigarettes and stuff. They don't allow people to smoke in prison anymore. I don't know. Oh, that sounds terrible.
I don't know why they would do that.
I
Just
don't
let 'em
know.
Smoke.
It's for the safety of the guards.
Okay.
Oh God. So yeah, I go hysterically off on that. So it's not like some heroic moment, you know. Avengers assemble. You know,
It wasn't?
No. It was
This was fight or flight panic.
fight or flight, panic, spazzy fighting. Think Ralphie in A Christmas Story. You know, like
Toe to toe, could you take this guy?
I mean, I did. So,
Well, how did you? I mean,
I had. Well, I had a Walkman in my hand and I bashed his face in.
it's a very Gen X with the Sony products.
Yes.
Very Gen X.
Well, it was what was in my hand at the time.
You bashed his face in.
I bashed his face in, and bashed it in pretty good. And
He go down.
Yeah, he went down.
Down and out.
Down and out. Blood everywhere. And I'm like, I'm going to the hole.
I was just going to ask. The
Yeah.
adrenaline comes down, and you're
Yeah,
going to the hole.
I'm screwed. I'm going to the hole. I'm going to get more time. Put on
Mhm.
my.
Just what he wanted.
Yep. And that didn't happen, which is insane, right? So I did a little time, but as far as getting extra time added to my sentence, doesn't happen.
Why not?
Doesn't happen.
Why not the hole? Where'd you go?
It's a mystery. Why? Because my biggest concern at the time was are they going to think I snitched? That was my biggest concern. So my guess is the guards knew what was going on, or another, and I never knew the answer to this at all. But it just kind of got a new cellmate, you know? Got a new cellmate. Little crazy still, but not
violent.
not
Not messing with you.
Yeah.
Did you ever run into that guy again?
No. Never did.
It probably was. Someone was like, "We got to get these tier 2s out of here, man."
No, and he
This
was
is-
supposed to go to Pelican Bay anyway. Like he was like all the level 4s were supposed to go to Pelican Bay.
Right,
anyway.
they're still kind of going through that transition.
Yep.
So you get placed with a new cellmate, and
Yep.
he's tier 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so are you able to relax?
Relax a little bit, and then I took a printing class in there, and I never really went to the yard or did anything after that. And then it was finally over when I went to the minimum security part of.
Well, hang on a second.
Okay.
This guy was a big part of your recovery.
Oh, I'm getting way ahead of myself. So before
I mean, who was he? He's
he
violent. What was he? What was he like?
he was actually a nice guy. He was a nice guy. There are nice guys in there, believe it or not.
Of course there are.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah. I mean, just made a bunch of mistakes in his life like I did.
They only put the ones that get caught in there.
And me needing to get out of the cell, and I didn't really want to go to church. I tried it a couple times, but it really didn't do it.
Where's
for
church
me.
come from? Why were you even thinking about church?
Oh,
suddenly?
I needed to get out of the cell for one, but I also needed to not come back here.
Well,
And I
didn't
was,
he tell you?
yes.
Here's some things you can do to make this go a little easier for
Mhm.
yourself. 2 options, right? Church and meetings.
Yep.
So what happens?
Church doesn't work for me.
Okay. And he was a
it
church.
does
he
for
was
a lot.
religious guy.
Yeah. He was a religious guy, and I started going to the meetings, and it wasn't like,
And this is AA.
yeah, this is AA. They did do NA ones in there, but I just gravitated to the AA, and the reason, and it's the same reason I gravitated to it outside, is there's just more time in AA. You could still, the principles are still the same. People are talking about alcohol. I could just apply it to drugs, and it's fine. So it starts kicking in. I go to these meetings.
And it kicks in for the first time, right? Because you've been through crash, you've been through meetings. Yep. It didn't take. Now it finally starts to take. Because you didn't go to those meetings initially for any other reason than to just make it easier inside, right? Or you said, I'm going to get clean now. I'm going to share.
It was just
self-preservation.
Self-preservation. I wish it was something bigger than that, but that's when it started kicking in. Like, oh, and when you're in the meeting and you're hearing people tell the stories, and like half the people in those meetings were there just to get out of their cell.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy leading the meeting, from H&I, hospitals and institutions, from AA, they're there because they're serious, right? And especially to volunteer, it takes a special kind of person to volunteer for H&I, to want to go inside a prison.
Takes a very good person to do that, better than I am.
Yeah.
When did it click? What was the conversation? What was going around the circle when it suddenly switched?
It started clicking. It was just through time, but just hearing over and over again that like life can get better. Like it's not necessarily over. I don't know if I fully believed it at the time, but it started clicking really just over time. And it stayed with me. I'm not going to say I was like ready to be a sober warrior at that point, but I had decided, like I told you earlier on, like I do not want to come back here. This is horrifying. So the best way to describe prison is it is boredom, occasionally interrupted by moments of terror. Just complete terror. But there's always an underlying, like, you sleeping with one eye open. You got to worry about absolutely everything. If somebody gives you a dirty look in there, it means something. And that's probably going to, because you are trapped with these people. And that will probably come to a head at some point. And that's always rolling around in the back of your head.
But once again, some people looking out for you. Always have a routine so you don't go crazy. And then this new cellmate says, you need a plan.
You need a plan.
What does he mean by that?
You need a plan for life. Like you can't just get out and think everything's going to be okay. And this is something like a father would tell a kid, right? You need to have a plan. And
what's your plan?
And my plan was really simple. To get sober, to get a job, and then implement. I don't think I've verbally said this, but or implement the routine in life. So that routine I was learning in prison, I actually applied it afterwards.
You did.
It was really fucking helpful. It was really helpful.
What kind of routine was it? What was just the day to day that?
So the day to day, this carried on from when I went on to the minimum security.
Right, you got moved finally.
Yeah, I moved finally. And in minimum security, I was doing a lot of working out. I was either playing racquetball because we had handball. We had this big track you can walk or run laps on, and and I also had a job. I had this crazy job that taught me how to work, and this is where the rehabilitation of prison actually worked on one person. So I had this gig at procurement in the procurement office.
What does that mean?
Basically, we did all the purchasing.
Okay.
For the prison, particularly in my area, was just writing up all the drug orders, which is funny.
Right, you're dealing drugs again.
So I'm writing up all the drug orders because the new Folsom wing had a psychiatric wing.
Sure.
So I was doing all the drug orders for them. And I worked for a lady. I should say her real name.
No.
It's fun. She always wore purple. She always wore freaking purple. And I was her little boy toy, by the way. Like she's like, oops, I dropped something. Like stuff,
okay.
Yeah, stuff like that. I used to be young and pretty. But it was get up 5:30 in the morning, get my breakfast, either walk a lap before I go to work or walk 2 laps before I go to work, come back, go play some racquetball or handball with the guys, And it was just do that every day.
Were you
every day.
behaving at your job and
Yes.
all that? You were.
Yeah.
Getting along with everybody.
Getting along with everybody.
Are you counting down the days now?
Counting down the days. They're still long. I mean, they're still like a year out.
This is why you're so good at counting George Martin's days to the.
Yeah.
Because you're counting days. That's what you do.
I do. That's what I do. I keep track, George. So yeah. And
What are the last few days like? Isn't it, 60, 59, 50? I mean, is it torture?
It's torture, dude. It's absolute torture. And the anxiety of, am I going to fuck up again?
Right. Am I really getting out?
Yeah. Is there
What's going to happen?
What's going to happen? That really starts messing with you towards the end.
I bet it does.
Like, what if some charge is found? Because listen, I didn't get caught for everything I did.
Of course not.
Yeah.
8, 7, 6. Parents are still supporting you?
Parents are still supporting me. I'm on my routine. I'm starting to like lose it a little bit towards the end, though. I'm starting to.
In what way?
And just anxiety, just pure anxiety.
How did you cope?
Not well. I didn't sleep very much, but I tried to work out more. So, and by workout, I mean just exercise. Do some sort of like, but it was obsessive, right? It got really obsessive. But it was like, running laps or playing racquetball or playing it by myself.
So this is a very different facility than you're coming from. It had to feel like vacation.
It did. Like there was like a little garden where we grew chili peppers. We'd sit out and tan. It's near Sacramento. It's right near Folsom Lake.
You were supposed to be there the whole time.
Yes. I was not supposed to be behind the wall at all, ever. And or maybe for a couple weeks.
Did you run into other tier 2s at
Yeah,
Folsom Old?
yeah.
That were like,
they
what are we
were
doing?
like, what the hell?
What
That was
are we
terrible. That sucked. But for the level 2s, I usually had more time than they did. So they were all getting out before me, which kind of sucked. But watching them, hey, have fun, buddy. But yeah,
But you weren't a dick about it. You already saw how that works.
No, not at all.
Just leave them alone.
Like, yeah, exactly. But then we'd have this thing called spreads where we'd make a bunch of food. We'd steal some food out of the kitchen, or the cook would just give us some food, and we'd make these big things of ramen and chop every piece of meat we could figure out. And it was just this gobbledygook of stew with top ramen and that was our like party night. We watched football, and it was kind of smoked cigarettes, and it.
When you heard like Bola Brown at King's Landing, you're like, oh, I had Bola Brown.
Yeah. Singer stew.
Yeah. So the day finally comes.
And my parents pick me up, and so I go out the main gate of Folsom.
There was a beat I liked in your book about the guard who came to get you, because he was the same guard, that badass guard who let you in.
Yeah.
He was still there.
Yep.
Little smile in his eyes.
Yeah.
You did it, kid.
Yeah, you made it.
You made it.
And it was, I wish I could bottle like the feeling I had that day, because I wanted for nothing. No material thing had any value to me. It was pure freedom. So that was the first day I understood what like liberty and freedom is. It's something I completely took for granted and never thought about as a kid.
How soon did it kick in?
Like the minute I walked out.
And just open sky and
no
walls.
Open sky, no walls. My mom and dad smiling to see me. And, you don't have to sign very much paperwork. You just sign a couple things and get your stuff back. Got my clothes back that I went in on, and I'm like, wow, I actually lost weight in here. I'm, so. You
weren't doing well for a while in there.
No, I was not doing well, and I got out pretty much in shape. But yeah, so back to that feeling of gratitude, just pure gratitude of like, I am free. My life isn't over. Because I was convinced for the longest time, even before I went into prison, we talked about it earlier, that my life was just over.
Sure.
It's done. Like, we're going to play it out. It's going to be a sad, pathetic ending.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wow, I have a chance to do this. and I don't want for a bunch. I don't have any lofty goals.
Just one. Don't go back in there.
Don't go back in.
Don't go back in.
Yeah. So I had the best meal of my life, which was, an omelet at Denny's.
Denny's. I mean, you're home. It's America.
Greatest food, greatest meal I've ever had. And
but what's the conversation like at that breakfast? Are we laughing? We're crying?
We're laughing. We're talking about just what's ahead. My dad was not like a real sentimental guy, so we were just like, yeah, we talk about the Chargers and Padres and
how crappy they were.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's right before they went for their first Super Bowl.
Oh, that's right, early 90s.
Yeah, but there were still like Bobby Ross had come around and they've been to the playoffs for the first time in a long time. So we had stuff to talk about, but it was really light, right? And they were pretty matter of factly like, you got to find a job. You can't like stay with us forever. I'm like, okay, fair.
No talking back, no attitude.
Nope. Just I was being a good kid, right? And with a new lease on life and a new attitude towards life, and waking up every morning was freaking great. I could just, and I'd do things like just take a walk, I'd ride my bike to the beach, in between looking for a job. But yeah, I didn't need any money, didn't need any of that stuff. I had a place to stay, but eventually I would need that money.
Were you craving drugs?
No.
Booze, anything?
No, started going to meetings immediately.
You did?
Yeah, immediately. There was none of that, and wasn't seeking out my old friends. That's usually what gets any addict in trouble, especially after they get out of a rehab or anything. It's what I got in trouble, is like I immediately sought out my old friends, which means let's party. I did not. I didn't let anybody know I was back. Didn't know if anybody knew I was back or gone or anything. And just kind of did my own thing. Hung out with my parents, and eventually contacted a couple of friends, but I knew who were outside of like an old childhood friend. And he eventually gave me a job.
Well, before that, you said don't run into old friends, but you did.
I did.
What happened?
It was sad. But I'm
also talking about that meeting.
Okay.
Where people from the neighborhood were there.
Yeah. When that was kind of surprising when we ran into each other.
What happened? Who was there?
I'm trying not to use. I had a couple of older friends.
Ballsack and Don Juan. That's cool.
Seeing Ballsack there.
So these are all guys you partied with, drugs.
It was a shock, but I'm sure they were just as shocked seeing me.
Were you frightened a little bit? Like, oh no, relapse, here we go.
At that meeting, yeah, that's always that. I mean, the fear is always in there. Yes, absolutely. But it was also, now that I look back on it, a little inspiring to see some of the old people come through and make it. And we, there's some I ended up staying friends with forever, and to this day, some who didn't make it. But that, like, seeing that was like, I guess the first test,
And one of those guys became your first sponsor?
Yeah.
Did you know about sponsorship at that time?
I did. I just never really took it seriously. Right.
Eventually you learn how important it is.
And then you learn how absolutely necessary it is.
So he was clean a while. Tell me about that conversation.
It was, he's knew what I've been through. Right. And then, like, more than anybody else, I honestly don't know if it was the best, the best choice for sponsor, to be honest with you.
Maybe not.
But, I just didn't want to go back. It was really simple. I didn't want to die.
So he asked you to make a commitment.
Mm-hmm.
And you agreed to it.
Yes.
Did you keep your word?
To my commitments to
him. I know how it works. You're there for each other.
Yes.
Pick up the phone. You show up. You do the work. You come back tomorrow. You call. Did you do all that stuff?
I did all that stuff in the beginning, and I did it when I relapsed too. The thing, and like, I don't want to get ahead with the relapse, but there's a commitment you need to make. That
I'm just trying to stress what a big decision it is once you become a sponsee. It's a big deal.
It is. Usually it's 90 meetings in 90 days, and you have to write gratitude lists. Like both sponsors maybe do it. One was way more hardcore than the other, though. You have to do a ton of homework. You have to meet. You have to basically do your own book study with you. So we sit down and we go over chapters of the book, and this is on top of going to meetings that are book, because there are book specific meetings.
Yep.
Where you just go through the chapters.
Yep. And you're now like working the steps and doing
the steps, and it's not just once. So I thought it was just once you did the steps. Now you just recycle and keep going through and through until it really gets ingrained.
Well, step 4 is never over, is it?
Never over.
That's inventory.
Yes, the personal inventory, and we're always making new mistakes, right? And it's work that's never done.
That's a very important step. Is that self-awareness.
Yeah.
So you're working the program, things are going good, you get a job at the warehouse.
At the warehouse.
How's that first day feel?
It's crazy.
The warehouse is music, videos.
So
that's a West Coast. I'm from New York. I'd never heard of it.
Okay,
it's a big deal.
The warehouse is it's a record store.
Mm-hmm.
That's also a video store.
This is perfect for you. Because you're a pop culture junkie going in, right?
Yes. So
are you like, this is perfect?
It's heaven.
Yeah.
It's absolute heaven. And I've always wanted, I've worked at the warehouse before in the past.
Oh, you did?
I did, but for I never worked anywhere long because I was a drug addict. So this was like, well, now that I know how to have this thing called a work ethic from prison, I learned that from prison. Getting up at 5 a.m. every day, going to work. It was amazing working there. The pay wasn't great, but who cares? It was enough.
Your parents had to be so proud.
That
you were going in every day.
I think they were probably always waiting. And it didn't happen. Like I went to work, took extra shifts, had tons of fun, met a bunch of friends there, had some rough times, like there's still the adapting I had to get used to.
Yeah, there is that story.
Yeah.
So, the altercation.
Yeah, some old guy and I got into it, and
well, tease it out. He walks in, he's waving the thing around.
He's waving a video around,
right?
And he's giving me a bunch of attitude.
Like what?
It was over a return, and it was late or something. It was some violation, whatever. And once he started getting disrespectful to me, and he was angry at me,
right?
I've the prison defense mechanism comes in, so I feel like I'm being disrespected. So this is like, still early on. This took me years to get rid of this stuff because it wasn't like I was floating on cloud 9 the whole time I was out. There's certain things that would, I guess trigger is a lack of a better word, trigger the defense mechanisms from prison. I definitely had, I had trouble sleeping for, if you want to call it PTSD. Sure. I mean, for a decade, I had trouble sleeping.
No, it is PTSD. It is PTSD. That's a thing that ex-cons have. You come out of war, you come out of prison, you have PTSD. And you did. And so you felt you're disrespected. What happened with the guy?
I shouted him down, and I had to get. I got written up, and my friend had to. The friend who gave me the job.
You didn't put hands on, right?
No hands on.
Okay.
But we were just yelling. We were yelling at each other, pretty good. Like
this is terrible customer service.
It's horrible customer service because it's retail. Customers come in and yell. You just go, "Yes, sir, I will." It was really easy. All I had to do.
Who cares? Just give him the tape.
Just give him what he wanted and walk away. But I took it as a personal. So I get written up, and
But I love the conversation you have with Don in the back room
yeah,
because he asked you what happened, but it wasn't a casual thing because he's like, no, seriously, what's going on?
yeah. It wasn't like what happened with the
Right.
with the situation. It's
Right.
like what's going. It was like an actual caring.
Because he's in the program.
Mm-hmm. And
What'd you say?
Oh, I just told him exactly that. I felt disrespected, and everything just clicked. My defense mechanism. I just lost my shit. And it's just, and it was understood, but it was also said that like this cannot go on. Like you gotta.
Did you get fired?
No, I got written up.
Okay.
I got written up, which was I should have been fired.
Maybe. I don't know.
He was gonna fire me. He wasn't gonna.
No.
But like, I felt terrible.
If you did
right?
it again, maybe.
And the thing is, like later on, like me and that old guy got along famously after that.
Of course.
So I just treated him nice.
Prison rules are actual
rules
of life.
So, and then we actually got to the point where like he'd come over and we'd chit chat for 20, 30 minutes while he's at. So it's like, that's the cool part of the story is we became like buds after that.
Mutual respect.
Yeah. And like, it was way down the line. So I'm like, you know what? I'm really sorry I yelled at you that day. I was having a bad day. He's like, don't worry.
Of course.
He was a sweet, sweet old guy. So yeah, it was, but that's where I also recognized like this might not be that easy. Like it was like you once you get past your cloud nine and your euphoria, there's the work that has to be done, and I was super angry, like and resentful.
Are you feeling the calling to go back to drinking or drugs?
Not at that time, but it that eventually does come. But I think that's just being fresh, being out of prison, right? And you just you got your guard up all the time.
Of course,
you don't need to have your guard up. Plus, prison rules aren't real life rules. So if somebody disrespects you, you don't like punch them in the face,
right?
It's simple stuff like that.
So what happened next after Warehouse?
After Warehouse. Well, okay, so I meet first wife.
Meet the first wife.
Meet the first wife. Yeah.
And?
Yeah, she's so when you meet somebody in recovery, right?
She was in the program.
She was in the program. It's cool.
But you understand each other.
Yeah, understand each other on that level, but you also have to have like more in common beyond that. And we never really did. So
when did the fight start and why?
I mean, it was just later on, and it wasn't like a ton of them. It was just she's a nice person, so I don't.
She is.
Yeah, she's a nice person.
There's always two sides to a story.
Yeah, and she had to put up with me, right? And long story short, I was still kind of a magpie. I was still collecting stuff that she didn't like.
Like what, comics?
Comics, yeah. She just didn't like the comics and toy collecting like at all. And yeah, and it just wasn't going to work out.
You guys are not getting along. Dad gets sick.
Dad gets cancer. And we kind of like everything is kind of put to the side. We're dealing with Dad's cancer.
How are you guys dealing with it? How's Mom taking it?
Mom's being a caregiver and trying to be the strong caregiver. And at the time, we thought there's a possibility he could fight it off, right? But my mom had just been a caregiver for her mom who died. And then she had to be immediately a caregiver for my dad. Long story short on this one, he got colon cancer. It went away, full remission, and then it comes back immediately, and he's got weeks to live. Gets into his stomach and
Yep.
all this. And we have our last like conversation where he's like not just on morphine.
Yep.
Our last real conversation, and he sits me down. He's in the hospital, and the last thing he wants to talk to me about is my relationship with my wife. And
because he sensed it a long time.
Yeah,
that you're not happy. It's not working.
you're not happy. It's not working.
So what did he tell you?
Life is too short to be with somebody you're not happy with, right? And you deserve happiness. And we were like really tight, and we rarely talked about like relationships. So it was like, whoa, why is he bringing this up? But he was right. He was right. And again, no fault of hers, right? I was a massive pain in the ass.
Of course.
Yeah. And so dad passes away, and that is just a huge change in my life. That's like an anchor gone.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I see that like as like, you know what? It's just I need a change in life. I don't even know if it's the best decision in the world or not. And I've reconnected with some friends, including Melissa. And
because you knew Melissa from back in the day.
Yeah, Melissa. My wife Melissa, I've known for 41 years. So she was at that Crystal Palace. She was partying there.
Mm-hmm.
So she's seen it all. So we're friends. Reconnected through classmates.com.
Oh yeah.
So I get a divorce.
Yeah.
And moved to San Francisco, never thought I'd leave San Diego. I love San Diego. Move up to San Francisco.
What attracted you to San Francisco?
It was just for back then it was cool, and I needed a change. I just needed a change of scenery. I didn't want to leave the state of California, and I didn't want to live in LA. So San Francisco was the next best choice.
Well, I mean, you were weird in San Diego. In San Francisco, you're home. Everybody's weird.
Yeah, that's part of it. It's certainly changed for San Diego now, but San Diego back then, it was pretty much a normal town. And San Francisco back then was a different city than it is now. But yeah, I was up there, and I was selling auto parts. So I went from working at the warehouse to selling auto parts. And I thought the reason I bring that up is this is my life now, and I'm totally happy with it. Like, I like this job. When you have realistic expectations of, I was going to go nowhere in life and die, but now I've got this job because I had no skills. When I walked out of prison, one of my biggest fears is I have no skills.
Yes, you did.
Well, I mean,
you were organized. You learned a lot in prison. So auto parts, but you're still collecting comics and doing your
still doing all that
passion.
Stuff, right?
And Melissa's cool with it.
Yeah, like totally cool with it. Oh yeah, she has to be. No, she's as much of a collector as I am. So there you go. So yeah, I got the normal job, and I'm super happy with it. And I'm like, if this is the job I work on at the rest of my life, I'm totally cool. Like, it makes enough money.
Mm-hmm.
I like it enough. But I always kept on like finding something more. Right, that's when the comic shop comes up. I'm in San Francisco, and this is before Melissa and I are married.
Were you living together?
Yeah, we were living together, and like within a year, I bought the comic store. It just landed in my lap.
But how did you make that decision?
It was really quick and probably not smart.
I mean, just suddenly it's available. You have the money.
I'm working at Oakland Acura.
Okay.
And I hate working in Oakland. Like, I hate Oakland. Like, hate Oakland like a lot. So, and hate going over that Bay Bridge every day. So I'm looking for something. And I'm at lunch, and I open the paper, and there is an ad for some comics for sale. I answer the ad because I'm like, I'm going to buy this big chunk of comics. It was affordable. And I'm going to save it for when I open a store someday in retirement. So that was my plan.
When you retire, would open a store?
When I retire.
Okay.
So when I'm making this deal with the guy's all, there's a comic shop for sale right now. You want to buy it. And it just so happened to be the shop I shopped at, the Comic Outpost. So it was my comic store.
Wow.
So I'm like, I'll just talk to the guy. I never thought any of this would go down. We talk, we agree on a price, we go to a pizza place, make a handshake deal.
You guys had the money?
I had the money.
Okay.
Had the money. I post divorce, made a lot of money off the condo. We bought a condo for like next to nothing, and the housing market went crazy.
Right.
So
the money was there.
Money was there.
Okay.
So I bought the store, and it was just like that. It was within 2 weeks. I had to quick read, half read, Small Business for Dummies, and then I was owning a comic store, which was like a lifelong dream.
Did you feel like this is a dream come true?
Yes, at first.
Yeah.
And it always was. It was always a really fun job. But then, I always said to myself, if this thing becomes a job, like if it starts feeling like work, I'm out. And it didn't for a long time.
Well, you got into to comic books as an entrepreneur at a very good time in our culture. Very good time. Very lucky. Because this is, MCU is getting hot, right? Spider-Man's rebooted and it's good.
Yeah, so right.
Nolan reboots Batman and it's great.
It's kind of weird how the timing worked out. So I took it over in 2003.
Kind of weird.
Right?
You're the luckiest dude I know.
Yeah, I X-Men had come out in 99. Spider-Man 2 came out the year before I opened my store.
Right.
And we're just a couple of years before Nolan starting Batman and the MCU starting. And, in the meantime, there was like Sin City came out and,
how's the store doing?
And it's just creeping up. It's doing better and better. When I got there, it was still like recovering from post 9/11, post 90s stuff.
Yeah. Not a lot of it. It was very specific.
Batman Hush was the best selling comic.
Oof.
So it was out right when I started my store. And then it just started revving up. The competition between Marvel and DC got a lot more serious.
That's good for you.
Oh, it was great. In the beginning, it was absolutely great, and it was kind of a renaissance time for comic books, for independent books too. And it was kind of the last hurrah of American comics. Now that I look back on it, which is kind of sad.
It was.
But the storytelling was getting much better. The art was getting better. The comic book sales were going up.
What were the people like coming in and out?
It was normies. So like we got it. It was Hollywood was bringing in a lot of normies, but what helped was the comic books were story driven. So we still had great writers like Mark Miller, who were out there working with either Wildstorm in the early days, but then they like Marvel plucked him, and Warren Ellis, Garth Ennis, and Grant Morrison, all these old Judge Dredd people coming in and writing American comics and kind of turning it upside down.
You won Best of the Bay.
I did, 2009.
Why? How did you differentiate yourself?
This San Francisco is very San Francisco, right? So most of the comic shops are going to be independent book oriented, because it's such a hippie independent town. I'm like, I am going to be the normie superhero family store. Because that's the one thing that isn't here.
Weren't you drawing your own comics back in the day?
Oh God, yeah. I don't know. Yes, I was.
Art school.
I drew. We did what kind of became the precursor to the book. We did a comic called Horror Show, and I did another superhero comic book.
People don't know that you write and draw.
No, they don't. And I'm going to keep it that way. Well, not anymore, but yes.
Not anymore.
Yeah. I did a superhero comic book that I might revisit like after YouTube. But yeah, I was drawing and writing just for fun, like no expectations, and I don't consider myself anything.
And the store's growing, and then
growing.
Then you get a certificate for video production?
Yeah. So when we win Best of the Bay in 2009, but this is like 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
Economy's going to crap. So the store is breaking even.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's just breaking even. So I want to do something fun, possibly to make some more money. I don't want to, but we need to like figure this out. So I take a video intensive course. It's called a new media intensive course or digital video intensive at San Francisco State University. It was 4 months, 10 to 12 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Wow.
And it's like basically film school with no theory put into 4 months.
That sounds awesome.
It was great. It was great. First day, we had cameras in our hands. Second day, we're editing. We learned how to light a scene. We learned how to write a script.
This comes in
handy. We used a Matlock script, and I'll never forget.
Nice.
Yeah. And it was people who all worked in the industry, and it's all practical. It was all practical. So by the end, all of us had shot like 4 little short films.
And how did this apply to the comic book store?
I was able to like shoot podcasts, do ads. But it was always going to be like, I want to do a podcast and I want to do some kind of live show. And I was thinking, we live streamed, what did Joe Rogan used to use to live stream on?
Ustream.
Ustream. We used Ustream.
The tiniest window.
So we live streamed in our store way back when, during free comic book day and 24-hour comic book day, where people were, you make a comic in 24 hours.
So the store starts doing good again, and you kind of become hot shit. You become the mayor of the nerds. Hot.
Yeah.
And Ego Gary comes back.
Yeah, big time. All goes to my head.
Why? What happened?
Stopped going to meetings.
Why? You were cured?
I was cured. No,
what's your rational, and what is
my
the wife
rationalization?
say?
I was too busy.
You're too busy
at
for me.
work.
Oh.
Too busy.
You know how that goes.
Yeah.
And what's the wife thinking?
She's busy too.
So she doesn't know you're missing meetings, or
doesn't necessarily know. She's like, we had the 2 kids, right? So
and you're learning to get pretty good at lying at this point. I would
yeah,
imagine.
very good.
Yeah,
very good. So saying I'm going to meetings when I'm not,
mm-hmm.
So that was just a recipe for destruction.
So it's going to your head, and what's going down?
Well, no sponsor, no meetings, going to my head. Things are going really well at the store, so that can mask a lot of stuff. Putting up a banner one day. Superman Returns banner, which I still own. I will never get rid of it now.
What happened?
A ladder, a folding ladder, flattens my thumb. Stupid injury. But my thumb was like this thin. Flattens my thumb. They have to like drill a hole in the nail, and the blood comes up like Monty Python. But at the emergency room, because I had to drive myself there because my employee didn't know how to drive.
San Francisco.
San Francisco. They gave me some Vicodin.
Oh, daddy likey Vikey.
Yep. And it was pretty much off to the races to that point.
Yeah. You're suddenly in a great mood and don't feel any pain.
Yep.
So you just get a script?
And
you're just taken as prescribed.
Yeah. It's normal at first. Then the thing is, when you have a comic store, a lot of people offer you stuff, and
like what?
Oh,
advice?
Advice. That's it. It just through time, basically the addict mind kicked in again. Like absolutely kicked in again.
They're coming in with Coke is what they're doing.
They're coming in with Coke. So it jumps really quick. So it goes from like getting prescripts, and at that time it was the Vicodin opiate epidemic.
Oh yeah,
and it was really easy to get scripts.
Mm-hmm.
You could just say I sprained my ankle and just my back hurt. And then I've always been offered weed, in the store for trade or whatever. And a guy just like one day comes in, offers some Coke. I'm like, sure.
So you go from saying no though,
going from no
to let's go in the back and get dusty.
Yeah.
What shifted?
The relapse just kicked it. The disease just kicked in at that point. The shifting point was probably, obviously the not going to meetings, not having a sponsor, and realizing that I had already relapsed. Because for a minute I had it in my head that I hadn't relapsed when I was taking the pills.
What were your? Because it was just doctor gave.
It was
those.
the doctor gave. I was just doing, but I had stopped doing the prescribed amount. So I just said, fuck it.
And you weren't talking to your sponsor at all?
Nope.
Did you feel ashamed, or did you fail?
Totally. And then that's what fed the addiction, was the shame behind it. And the difference this time was I was doing all of this in solitude, right?
She didn't know what was going on?
She didn't know what was going on.
Are you sure she didn't know?
Well, I thought she didn't know.
Because I think they always know.
They always know.
We can fast forward to the Melissa method. if you
Oh, the
like.
Melissa method. Yeah.
Because you're on and off. There's the story of you going down to Comic-Con.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to tell that, cool.
So Comic-Con.
But you're basically out of control.
Complete. So it goes, well.
Because a Coke habit is pricey.
It's very pricey. And it's a progressive disease.
Mm-hmm.
So when I quit, I'll use my statements here. When I quit, it's like I've kept doing drugs to the point where I pick them up again. So if that doesn't make any sense to anybody at home,
It makes sense to addicts.
if I was doing rails this big back in 89 when I quit,
Mm-hmm.
it will mean I'm doing rails this big when I pick up within weeks,
Yep.
within days.
Yep. Same with
And-
booze, same everything.
Yep. And the thing is, your tolerance is not the same as it was then. So it's very dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in a very short amount of time, I was doing big old rails, like huge rails.
How are things going at work?
Insane. I was slowly going insane. My employees are like, what the hell's going on? My wife's like, what the hell's going on?
You have your son and a stepson at this point?
Yep.
You're a good dad?
I mean, I was never bad to them, but I wasn't a good dad when I was high. No, I was a terrible dad. Just getting high. Yeah.
You're thinking about them at all when you're
All the
doing your
time.
rails?
All the time. All the time. And it just made me want to get more high and not think about it, about how much I was failing them, like constantly. And maybe I had it in the back of my head that, I can get around this. But then there was a point that kicked in. It's like, no, this is probably it.
I did it once. I can do it again.
Yep.
And then you probably can't.
No, but just through the grace of God, nothing bad happened to him. Now, I didn't take any unnecessary risks with them or do any drugs in front of them or drive them anywhere completely incapacitated or anything crazy like that. I still had enough, I guess, humanity left in me to not do that.
That's why Coke is very tricky.
Yep.
Because it's not like you're all cloudy and slurry. No. You feel like, I can control this. I got this.
Till you're up for like 4 or 5 days. Then it gets a little crazy.
That was when you I couldn't believe that you didn't crash on the way back from San Diego. So just quickly, what happened?
Okay, go to San Diego. I'm like just completely out of it on Coke. And there's video of it somewhere.
There is?
There is.
Oh my goodness.
I'll find it. It's bad.
Do we have the Coked Up podcast?
Coked Up. Yeah, we were doing it. I wasn't involved. I had hired somebody to do some interviews, but we had like my Coked Up plan was actually sounded like a good plan at the time, but it was very hard to get internet there, was to use the booth to sell stuff and also as a like an interview, like podcasting interview on the floor.
Great idea.
A con. This was back in 2013, so it wasn't easy to do that. But we did it, and we got, Dave Gibson, and like we got some big names to come in, and yeah, but I was like losing my fucking mind. So I get home, Melissa finds out what the hell's going on, and I mean, she finds the biggest rock of cocaine.
She does.
She does.
Okay. And how does she confront you on that? Oh my goodness.
She while I'm gone, she's planning an intervention.
Oh no.
So she just plays it cool, and then all of a sudden there's a bunch of people coming to my house. I'm like,
empty chair?
I'm like, oh shit.
You know exactly what it is.
I know what's going on.
Now, this is where people make a choice.
Yep.
To sit or to be an asshole.
Yep. And I decided to not be an asshole. I mean, I still love my wife, of course, and I still love my kids. it's not like that ever changed. I was sick. I didn't like myself very much, and I made a lot of mistakes.
That's a very important decision that you made. That's kind of like the real Gary coming through. Is I'm going to sit because you didn't have to because you were verbally abusive to Melissa.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the stuff you said to her is out of hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
She very easily could have left you anytime.
She should have.
And probably should have.
Should have. I
can't even imagine speaking to anybody that way.
No.
Not someone who loves you.
No.
She's saying, call your sponsor, go to meetings. And you're telling her to go fuck herself.
Yep. So this time I didn't. And we sat down. A good friend of mine is there, who was a customer at the store, but he was also instrumental in bringing me back to recovery. He's kind of a recovery guru. And we sit down. We have the specialist there for the rehab, and he's like, "We got to go right now." And at that point, I could have said no. But I was done. I was like, you know what? Let's go. So we go to rehab. And, I get cleaned up for 30 days. And it's really nice. One of the best things about it was they took away my phone too. And this is like 2013, so it's not as bad as it was today. And it was so nice to not be around a phone for 30 days.
Try it now, Gary. It's still nice.
Yeah.
Try it now.
I
Okay.
will. Maybe not for 30. I don't know if I can for 30 days, but for a week, that'd be nice.
Everyone should put it away for a bit.
Yeah, sure.
So how did it go in rehab?
The rehab was good because it got me reconnected with AA, but I wasn't ready yet, right? So get out of rehab, nice and healthy. I get out of rehab and just immediately go
right back in.
Right back at it.
Did you have the store still?
Store is still around.
Who's
yes.
running it while you're inside?
I have a partial business partner.
Okay.
And then I have the employees, and they're holding it together. And the store was like kind of doing its own thing. It didn't really need me there at that point.
Might have been even better without you.
It probably would have been.
Give them a break.
So I get back, go right back to the store. Store's doing pretty good. But then things go downhill for me like fast. So like we're in rehab in August. So we're in September of 2013. And the store went from doing okay to like absolutely done by the end of the year.
That fast?
That fast. It was like it just fell off a cliff.
And
it was my like the store could have survived, but I went back out again.
You were back on doing the coke?
Yeah, and just like burning through money.
Sure.
Absolutely burning through money. So I have to make the decision to close it. But before I close it, somebody else comes in and says, like, I'll give you a song to buy it. And I'm like, fine. The customers still have it. And I'm just like, fine, whatever. I need to.
And all this time you're selling collectibles to feed your habit.
Oh God, yeah.
Stuff that's one of a kind.
I laugh so I don't cry. John Byrne had I can send you the copy. It's still out there. You can find it on the internet. But John Byrne had done a commission for me of Batman and Spider-Man on a double date with Catwoman and Black Cat, and Alfred's like barbecuing on the top.
So good.
It's so good. It's like he drew it for a comic book. Like the guy took so much time with this commission. One of a kind. I'll never see it again.
For 2 days worth of coke.
Maybe 2 days worth of coke. And I had Frank Miller original art from Amazing Spider-Man 100, a spread page where Spider-Man's beating the Fantastic Four.
What's going through your mind when you're letting it go? Are you thinking about this is going to hurt?
It's going to hurt, but I need to get high.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it hurts. Like there's a couple things, like some stuff I've sold, it's like whatever. But like there's a couple, it's like, oh, do you know how much that Frank Miller spread would be worth right now? It's like, oh. And considering how much I sold it for, it's like, oh. But
so you
that's
have
life.
You have to sell the store, or you want to?
We have to, because I'm going bankrupt at this point.
She's carrying you guys,
and Melissa's not going to carry me. Like the shop has to carry itself or it's done. And it could have, but I burned through all the money. So it just got tiresome. I had to have a check ready when the shipment came. And it just it just wasn't sustainable at that point. And it was a choice of, do I continue to keep the store or do I try to fight to get my sobriety and my family back? And it was an easy decision. So it was shut it down. Then it gets sold. So it stayed around for a little while. And Melissa kicked me out of the house.
What do you mean?
So she, right around Christmas, she found some more pills and she's like, "You're out. You're out." So, initially it was, I went to sober living. So, at first nowhere. And then we set up sober living.
Sober living's urine test though.
Urine test. Oh yeah.
How'd that go?
I did so much. See, the thing is though, I didn't do coke. I can tell you the truth right now. I didn't do coke, but I had done so much coke that it was still in my system days after. So I failed a test and I'm like, I for real didn't do any coke, dude. But they're like, no.
Right. They all say that.
Yeah. They all say that. So they're like, the deal is you got to just go, you get kicked out for a day and then you go to a different house. Right?
You still got to pay for that day.
Still got to pay for that day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happened. And I'm like, all right.
Because you can't go home?
I can't go home. Right. So I slept in the car.
Slept in the car.
Slept in the effing car.
Hoping for tomorrow.
So this is 2013. Okay. I am 43. Just lost everything. Mm-hmm. And I am sleeping in my effing car. Right. So I get into the next the sobriety house. It's off a Sloat in San Francisco, if you're familiar with that area. And I'm like, I'm going to give it another go. I got to find a job. First, I just wanted to get, I had enough money set aside and didn't need a lot. It's just like, let's just get the sober thing going right now. Let's go to meetings.
Meetings? Okay.
Meetings, yeah. And there's meetings in the house.
Sure.
And the people in the house, it was a nice house. People were pretty cool. It was
you still in touch with Melissa at this time?
A little bit, yeah. I mean,
a little bit is enough.
Yeah, a little bit, which is like, I'm alive. I went to a meeting, just checking in. But she's not being like,
Do you know at the time that you're risking more than you were at Folsom? Like, it's a more dangerous situation now.
Yes.
You knew that.
Yeah. Like, this was way more dangerous than when I was younger.
You got boys at home, no dad.
I got kids I've abandoned, basically. I've let down. And that sticks the most, right? Is what really motivated me to turn my shit. Because I didn't know if she was going to get, I figured she wouldn't. And I'm like, oh my God. Visitation with my kids. And I know other people have to go through it. There's people out there going through it right now, and it's not to look down on them. This is a completely different situation. But with what motivated me was like, I don't want to be that dad. I don't want to be that dad. There's so many dads out there that have done that. It's like, I don't want to be that dad.
You sit in circles with that dad every time you're at a meeting.
Yep.
There's one of those guys is there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't be that guy.
I can't. And you know, it sucks to be in that position as that guy. And if I had to be in it, that's fine. But that my main motivation was, I am not going to be that guy. I'm not going to let my kids down, period. So whatever I'm feeling, I have to deal with it. So I did. I that was it. That was the thing that clicked for me, and passed my next piss test, no problem.
Nice.
And
they were hot.
Listen, yeah, it was quite. they were all like, this is the guy who failed. So I think they were ready to like boot me out, and I passed. They're like, okay, we can move. You could feel kind of like a tension leave, and we can move on. And
that guy who technically threw you out that first night, which he should have. I don't know what the quote was, but it was a great moment in your story where you were kind of negotiating, almost fighting with the guy to stay.
Yeah.
And whatever the quote was, he said, "What you're doing right now is you're angry at external forces trying to get someone else to make a decision for you. We're not doing that here.
Yeah. You got to do this on your own, buddy.
This is on you.
This is on you.
Come back tomorrow."
Like, these are rules, and
He was
right.
He was right. It's a great
100%.
lesson.
It sucks to hear at the time, though. You're
It
like,
does, but had me thinking about my own life. Everyone should think about that. When you're angry at external things, you're looking for someone else to make your decision for you.
yep,
Don't do that. Man up. Make the call.
man
Own
up.
it.
And I did, and
Yep.
so through the sober living, it starts to come together, and I have to go through like just swallowing a lot of pride along the way. This is it is going back to auto parts jobs, but not to the like I'm a journeyman in that field. I had to go work at O'Reilly for $12 an hour. That's
Sure.
where I started, but that's what you have to do.
Mhm.
And I wasn't super happy about it. I was bitter, but it's like I understood that like this is me getting a job. And in the meantime, I started a podcast. I just because I missed the store, and I'm like, I need a hobby because I know how important. One of the things about recovery is going to the gym is really important, and it's for this
Yes.
more than anything. It's part of that routine, right? And having a hobby, like having a hobby you enjoy. So I'm like, well, I like, we did the podcasting thing at the store. Let's just do one for shits and giggles.
Who?
And me and a friend.
Okay.
And we did our first show in a Starbucks at West Portal in San Francisco.
What'd you name the show?
Well, the show was named Sutro Watchtower originally, which is a terrible name, but it was just a placer name, right? Because we were like literally, because the shop, the Starbucks is under the Sutro Tower. Which is a giant antenna in San Francisco.
Okay.
And we thought Watchtower, like, Watchtower. So it's terrible. It's a terrible name.
All creators have a terrible name for their first channel.
But it was just a placeholder.
Yes.
Right. And yeah, we do this show. I think we talked about Batman versus Superman and like the Arrowverse and,
And how are you handling being away from the comic book store and going to job day to day? How are you just the drudgery, the regret?
I'm handling it by going to meetings and talking about it and get myself a sponsor and temporary sponsors and whoever would have my ear. But it's tough. It was really hard.
How long does it take Melissa to trust you again?
A while. Once I think I moved on. We were just about to move on. I went through a bunch of jobs. So I started O'Reilly, and then I just, whatever would pay me more, I was gone,
Tesla?
Yeah, and ended up at Tesla eventually. But between that, I worked at a German car place and
A few Acuras, right?
Acura and Dodge, and eventually ended up at Tesla. But I'm back home within a few months. I'm back home. And so I'm doing the podcast thing. I'm going to work every day, and especially when it's up, in Marin. So I'm going to Tesla. I work for Tesla. I finally get a job at Tesla. I work my way up. And
What are you doing there?
oh well, Tesla found me for something on freaking LinkedIn of all things. Like I'm the one person on earth who got a job on LinkedIn. They sent me a message, and they were in the process of trying to not be a tech company and be an automotive company because they have service centers, right? And they were treating them like tech centers. And it's like, you can't do that. So they needed to bring in automotive people. And this was in 2017. So they found me and they offered me like all the money in the world. And I'm like, okay. Well, they're like, what would it take? And I'm like, I'm going to give them a stupid, like.
How did you become talented and wanted? Why are you being recruited? What skills?
I think they were. I was on LinkedIn already, but I just had a lot of experience in auto parts. That's it. And it's probably just as hard now, but it was hard to find people. It's a generational thing, but it was hard to find people who were
My boy can't change an alternator.
Yeah.
Doesn't even know what it is.
Yeah. So it's like finding people who had skills
Sure.
in that field was getting tough, and they had the money and they were just kind of flinging, I think, it everywhere to see. But the fact that they found me is so weird. And I found that email when I was at work at Toyota, and I'm like, I'll just answer it. And then like they shot me back, and I'm like, okay, I'll just show them. I'll just tell them how much money I want. And they said yes. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm working there now. It was fine. For big corporations, they're actually probably the best I've ever worked for.
Were you turning wrenches?
No, I was working in parts. So I was setting up
Okay.
I was helping with the parts department that had no focus whatsoever. And when I left, it didn't have any either. That's the problem. But like, yeah, working at a Tesla parts, I won't bore anybody. It's just really different than working at a regular car, because Teslas, you're pretty much just changing tires. That's about it. Door handles, tires, and screens.
And that's where you discovered YouTube can kill some time?
YouTube could kill a lot of time. Mm-hmm. So I was watching a lot of YouTube, and I was still doing my podcast and doing like a little bit here on YouTube. I was telling you earlier, we got kind of inspired by Talking Dead, but we were going to talk about Walking Dead. We would find about
The great Chris Hardwick.
We cover Ash versus Evil Dead, Westworld, Counterpart, just any weird show, and we just do a live stream afterwards, and American Gods, and we get a little traction there. And it was through Expanse we started getting a bunch of traction, which was great. Before any culture nonsense started going on, right? So this is all going on in the background while I'm working at these parts jobs, and people I'm friends with now, I'm all watching. I'm at Tesla, and I've got my phone down here.
Who are you watching?
Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers.
Yep.
So Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, and in the early days, Drinker.
Sure.
I was watching Eric July, Young Ripa.
Can we give a shout out to Yellow Flash?
Yellow Flash. Sure. Hell yeah, Yellow Flash. I was in his streams a lot back in the early days. Yeah, it was. Eventually, a couple of videos took off. Right. The first one that took off for me, like big time, was like 30,000 views. Was The Expanse getting canceled? Right. I did a video on that.
Let's take a break.
Okay.
Take a break, because now we're getting into Nerdrotic. Before we take the break, how's Melissa doing with this podcast thing? She's watching you do it. You're having a ball. She thinks it's stupid.
No, she's part of the operation now. She's the brains of the operation. This thing doesn't happen without her.
I know how it feels.
Does she think I'm stupid all the time? No. No, she's really supportive. And we could definitely get to like the part of the story where, she was freed up to have all that time. But I think she's proud. She's proud of me.
All right.
In her way.
We'll be right back.
Yeah.
So you have a video that takes off, right?
Yes, relatively speaking.
Oh, no, I get it. 30,000 views took me 2 years.
Yeah.
To get to.
So
that's
took
a
me
lot.
Years to get to that. And when I saw it happen, I was just like, it was awesome. I was like, wow, 30,000 people. Like a baseball stadium watched my video.
What video was it?
It was The Expanse getting canceled. It was for a bummer. It was a complete bummer, but it was just reporting that it was canceled. And I had never really done a video. I was a live stream channel, purely, not thinking. I did everything wrong, right? When I started live streaming, it was just to back up podcasts. It was just to record the podcasts. So I had no idea people were watching. So I'll never forget I consider my first sub, because he was the first one I contacted. Brian Smart, I love you. He emails me. He's all, I have been trying to talk to you for the last 3 weeks. There's a chat right below that you're not paying attention to. I'm like, there's a chat?
You didn't know?
No, I had no idea.
Your fans are there.
So we start doing that. I'm like, oh my God, there's 4 people in here. So it was success. Total success. This is all I ever wanted, was just talk nerdy stuff. And I had another co-host, He's a friend of mine. He's a good guy. He used to work for Netflix, helped build Disney Plus. He's kind of a brilliant guy.
It's not his fault what happened over there.
No, it's not his fault. But he's the one who's all, we can make money off this. I'm like, shut up. Can't make money off YouTube. I'm not going to make any money. I'm not doing this for money. I'm happy. I like it. And
were you aware of like monetization and all of that?
Not super aware. And at the time I wasn't even monetized.
Right.
So I'm like, that's not going to happen.
So you were making zero money. You're
zero.
Just doing it for fun.
For years. Just doing it for fun. Doing this exact same thing I do now, but I just did it as a hobby because it was a chance to hang out with my friends and it kept me out of trouble.
Yes.
And it was doing something I truly loved. Every morning when I get up, since before the comic shop, I'd get up and go to entertainment websites. So back 20 years ago was the force.net, the onering.net, just looking at all my nerdy stuff. It made me happy. That's it. So why not make a show around that? And then once something hits 30,000 views and actors from the show contacted me and they're like, hey, thanks for the support. And I'm like, hey, thanks for the great show. It was really a great show. Seeing it get picked up by Amazon was awesome.
So big.
It was huge. And then, we kind of kept doing, I never thought to make videos still.
So you're still not thinking about, I can make money this.
Yeah. So the first video that took off was technically a live stream. I did it live. But then once it hit VOD, it took off. And it didn't really click right away.
Totally understand.
And eventually I just started making videos because I was told, well, that helps you get subscribers. I'm like, well, I can do a video. I can edit a video real quick. And what I'll do is I'll just riff off my last live stream. Because I mean, even to this day, my channel has more live streams than it does videos. I think I've only done 600 videos because it says 1,700 on my channel. 600 of those are videos. The rest are live streams. I live stream way more. And I didn't think about it because now I think of myself more as somebody who makes videos, but I honestly live stream.
You live stream all the time, everywhere.
I love it.
What were the monetization requirements when you were getting close?
Oh, those were back in the days of you got 1,000 subs.
1,000 subs, and that was it?
I don't even think it was 1,000 subs.
That's before me. You needed like 4,000 watch hours.
It was 4,000 watch hours and 500 subs. I can't even remember. It's not the requirements that you have today.
No. Do you remember when you hit it?
I remember when I hit it and somebody gave me $5 in a super chat. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Thanks.
You made money.
I made money. I remember cash, like transferring the first $50 out of my account, just going right on. That's like
absolutely
easy money right there. And I was happy with it and I didn't need any more. And to this day, I haven't asked for a super chat. I've never asked for a super chat.
You haven't?
No. And it's been brilliant. The support has been brilliant, but yeah, once that took off, Doctor Who happened, right? And that was the first time.
What do you mean Doctor Who happened? Doctor Who's been happening for a long time.
All right. So I guess I got to frame that.
Well, things were happening within this particular segment of pop culture.
Yes.
That made you angry.
Yes. That I couldn't believe what was happening. Because if you like, well, okay, so let's go to The Expanse. You love The Expanse. Mm-hmm. I love The Expanse. The Expanse kind of showed where entertainment was going at the time. It was prestige television. It was done right. The Expanse season 1 and the first 2 seasons are 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Science fiction, really a great take on the world, a pretty even take on the world.
It was.
And it was a diverse show that never said we're a diverse show. It was going that way naturally. It was kind of matching the demographics of America and the UK, and nobody was making an issue out of it.
Well, it felt like this is where things would go.
Yes.
It's hard science fiction. Like this is how things would happen.
Yep. especially
So we're talking about going to Mars, the Belters, and they have a unique culture and a language.
yeah, the Belchers were the Teamsters.
Mm-hmm.
Mars was military.
Yep.
And Earth
Was the welfare state.
was the welfare state that was run by the United Nations. And I thought it was a really accurate look at the United Nations. And everybody was on basic income.
That's
and
right.
everybody on basic income sat around their house and did nothing.
Right. They got
So-
high.
Yep.
And then you had the wealth gap.
Giant wealth gap. And it was a problem. And that's why people were leaving. That's why people would leave to Mars. You know, and Mars was militaristic, but they were goal oriented, and they were. It's complex, but there was a lot of Martians were just good people, you know. And then they had like the Space Mormons, which was funny. But I thought it was a relatively objective look at life for the most part. Kind of changes later in the books, but
It does. I stuck with them. I have the books memorized.
I did too. I did too. I think they rallied at the end. The books rallied at the end.
Yep.
There's a couple of books I don't like, but
What parts of the story of the Expanse bother you?
Michio Pa.
You don't like Pa, huh?
I hate Pa. I hate Pa. Pa was instrumental in destroying the Earth and faced no consequences for it.
Totally agree. And
Yeah.
I would skip her scenes. No offense to the actress, skip her scenes in the book.
Yep.
But I was okay with Drummer.
Yeah, Drummer was fine.
I was okay
Drummer was fine.
with Bull being kind of in there.
Yeah.
All right. I see where you're coming from.
And then they went away from Holden in the later books
That was tough.
completely.
That was
I'm like,
tough.
what are we doing? But it rallied at the end.
did.
It and really unlike the show, answers the proto-molecule, like tells you what's going on.
Right.
So if you watch the show and not read the books,
You just got started.
you just got started. It's basically Game of Thrones, you know, like ending at A Dance with Dragons or A Song of Ice and Fire, and except you can read the books and find out what's going on.
I forget which run, whether it was Ty, I don't forget, but he was George's assistant for a while.
Yeah. So both Ty Frank and Dan Abrahams
Yes.
are like proteges.
Right.
They're like the two people who could probably go and finish A Song of Ice and Fire on the planet.
Ooh. Yeah, so they
Mhm.
were making like an RPG, and said this would be a good novel.
Yeah. Yes, it started out as a game. I wish they hadn't gotten super political a few years ago. They haven't well, not that I've seen since, but I was a huge supporter of the show, and I still watch it. I still think it's pretty good.
So how's that track with Doctor Who and what you were doing?
So Hollywood drastically changed post. Well, there's a couple things. The first Trump administration and Me Too kind of coincided.
2015, 2016.
2015, 2016, something radically changed in Hollywood. What are the origins of that? I can get really in the weeds with that. I think a lot of it was dictated from the Obama administration and on.
You don't have to get into the weeds on that because that's an opinion. But
It's my opinion.
It is.
Yes, my opinion.
But what happened to the storytelling is kind of fact.
Yeah, whatever the origins were.
Right.
Right. And I have my suspicions, which I've gone over a lot on my channel. It did change. And we saw characters like Luke Skywalker turned into broken men who try to kill their nephew because they had a bad dream and sit on an island drinking the booby milk
booby
from a
milk.
giant space manatee. And while they were trying to introduce new characters in a Star Wars franchise that everybody would have been fine with, it was the treatment of Han Solo, it was the treatment of Luke Skywalker, and it was clearly not creatively driven. All of that was not creatively driven. It was social and political motivations behind these decisions. A lot of channels were born with the Last Jedi and the Force Awakens and the Rise of Skywalker. I got into the mix.
So are those bad movies because it's a female lead?
No, they're bad movies because they weren't planned. They were poorly written, and the female lead was propped up. Basically, she was propped up by degrading the legacy characters. So that's where the frustration comes in. Now, you will hear the excuse from the Access media and even people who work on the show and Lucasfilm that people just hate women. Every Star Wars fan would have been completely fine with a female lead and a female Jedi. And Finn, who was actually the more interesting character out of all of them,
He was.
who they made a clown, not the fans. The fans were mad at them for the treatment of Luke. What we have been waiting for is to see full-powered, full Jedi Luke who could, like in Dark Empire, who could bring down a Star Destroyer with the Force. We just wanted to see that. That's all we wanted to see.
I heard that even Mark Hamill didn't love the way that character wrapped up.
He was not happy. He was clearly not happy, and he was showing that throughout the press. Now, they told him to finally shut up. I don't think he ever fully did, and you can get mad at Mark for other things he said.
You can, but I don't care about what he said. I don't care about his political positions. I care about the story.
As far as the story of Star Wars, he was clearly not happy about it, and neither were the fans.
You mentioned a phrase, access media. You coined that. That's a term that is used now in media. What does that mean?
Access media is the corporate media that essentially, and not all corporate media, it's also some independent media that will basically throw softballs as far as interviews go and be toxic negativity. There's also toxic positivity. And they will gas up, gaslight, things that aren't very good so they can maintain their access. And that it is not for money at all. I mean, I've said it before. I'd almost respect that more if you did that for money, because that's something of value. No, it's just to maintain your access. And what they get is they get early access to movies or TV shows. They get screeners. And when you're watching them, they've got like some giant watermark thing over them.
It's annoying.
And instead of being authentic and honest all the time, they're really soft on their criticism and really crazy and absolutely unbelievable with their overpraise with things like Ironheart or the Marvels, which are just objectively bad.
So they have to review these positively or they don't get the next interview.
Yep.
Okay.
Or at least think that way. Now, it's not.
This is not your opinion. This is how it works.
This is how it works, and it's not like the studios tell them that. The studios don't tell them that. They do it on their own.
Mm-hmm. And
what happened is people like yours truly or anybody else who went to them normally, I used to go to a CBR or Screen Rant for my news all the time, right? Or Ain't It Cool News, and. Honestly, Ain't It Cool News back in the day was the most real. They were absolutely the most real, especially Moriarty. He was like a drinker prototype.
Yep.
Yeah, he would shred stuff, and that's why I love the guy, because I knew, well, this guy's honest, and I didn't agree with him all the time. But you started seeing these giant sites and these critics who really... They went out of their way to call movies that are obviously flawed. Like, we can have a difference of opinion of like Shang-Chi, right?
Yes.
Some people could think it's good. I think it's terrible, but it's not the worst thing Marvel's ever done.
I think it made money. Yeah.
No, it didn't. It didn't.
Okay. Well,
yes, I got called out.
That's how they should decide.
That's how they should decide. But where they're gaslighting people is saying these things are making money when they're not. The year that Shang-Chi came out and the Eternals, and I think it was Black Widow, Marvel wrote down $65 million, the studios. So they didn't make money. If you're writing down money, you're not making any money.
So if a movie makes, we hear the numbers all the time, a movie makes $300 million, that's not really the number, is it?
No.
It does box office, $300 million.
That's the money it. Okay, so if a movie if they announce it,
yes,
right? That is the movie. That is the money it generated at the box office.
So that's free split,
Yeah.
and that's not including the marketing budget.
That's not including marketing budget. That's not including anything you're paying the actors afterwards. That's not including the theater's take.
Right. Which
Yeah.
is about half.
Which is about half. It averages out half. Internationally, it's a little more. They get, China gets a huge amount of the money, and then it evens out here, particularly with Disney, which can kind of strong arm the theaters and have been for a long time. So Disney gets 60% of the domestic,
Right.
in a lot of cases. So it's semantics, it's parsing words, and it's bullshit. And then they're not calling it out. So the press is supposed to call this stuff out. So we started calling it out. And listen, I didn't know anything about it. So I just researched it. And I talked to people. I talked to people who work in Hollywood. I talked to people who had knowledge of the box office and just learned what they taught me. And it's pretty easy. Like, theaters don't show movies for free. Right.
Of
So
course.
when I went out and called Shang-Chi a flop, it was a flop. It did not profit. And I got called out by Simu Liu, which is fun. It's fine. But
Called out for what? For criticizing it?
calling it a flop and he said it wasn't a flop, but it was a flop. It was the technical term of a flop, the technical definition, which is it did not profit at the box office. We had the same battle over Superman. Now, I wouldn't go out and call Superman a flop, but
No.
it certainly didn't perform as well as it should have. But that's where the access media comes from. It is just this divide and this disconnection, and they just became a PR firm for the studios. So independent people like myself and others, Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, Yellow Flash, Drinker, Mahler, just started doing their own thing, right? And none of us have ever said, like, our opinion is the be all end all. It is just an opinion. But people started gravitating towards it because it was the truth, and sometimes I get things wrong and sometimes they get things wrong. And the cool thing is we can go, I got that one wrong.
Are there
sorry.
any movies or TV shows that you criticized that later on you're like, actually, it was okay?
If we go way back, there's movies I was way hard on, and like Thor: Dark World. I think I was a little too hard on that movie. It's not that. Everybody calls it bad. It's not that bad.
It's not.
But when you can see other, like, the Star Wars prequels, have they not benefited the most from the Disney trilogy?
Those aren't that bad. Is that a hot take? I don't mind those movies.
I
I'm not
hated them when they came out.
Yes.
I have very much softened my opinion on them. I don't think they're great.
We
but
could do without Jar Jar.
the Hobbit trilogy, I hated it when it came out.
Same.
And I watch it all the time now.
Same. It won me back.
It won me back. So anything recent that I can't say. Yeah, nothing. Yeah, like, it's not like I've gone back to Doctor Who. If we want to get back to and Doctor Who going, it wasn't that bad.
I want to know what attracted attention to you.
So
Why you were different.
I just came out and said the Doctor's not a woman. So the changes of Doctor Who were happening even before Jodie Whittaker came along, and it was getting filled with just political nonsense beforehand. Even with Capaldi, who did a great job. I mean, like, I wish he would have gotten better scripts, because he's one of the better doctors and one of the better actors to play it, and I have a lot of respect for that guy. But when they
You have a lot of respect for Jodie Whittaker. She's a brilliant actress. And a lot of this is not the talent's fault.
it's not. The only thing, like, as far as her taking a job, I don't criticize her for that. It's when she took the job and what she said, then I'll criticize her.
Fair enough.
Then I'll criticize her, because if she had just gone, I'm going to do the best I can as a doctor, like, to come out with, that's fine. I'll criticize the show, but I'm not really going to get on her. And I use the term, the first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, because that's how the Access media referred to her, like, all the time. So that's why I used it in all of my videos.
It
but
became a label culture.
it did. And when they showed the transition from that she was going to be the next Doctor, I kind of knew it was Doctor Who pressing the panic button a little bit. Something Stephen Moffat even said prior to. He said if they change the Doctor into a female, they're pressing the panic button. Well, they did too soon, in my opinion. And my opinion was at the time, and still is, that the Doctor's a male character. And the only reason you changed the Doctor into a female character, it was not a creative decision. It was one to grab headlines, and it was one motivated by social and political. It had social and political motivations. It was not a creative one. They don't know where to go with this. And if they're going to do a female Doctor, are you going to explore the real differences between a male Doctor and a female Doctor? And they didn't.
They didn't.
They just treated it the same. Her first episode, record breaking, but I was there reviewing it, and I just said, the Doctor's not a woman. And it was at that time that could get you suspended on Twitter.
I remember.
Yeah, it was crazy. So that's all I said. It wasn't anything crazy.
Why do you think you're labeled far right? Are you far right?
No. I think I'm labeled far right for the same reasons a lot of people get labeled far right, is you don't agree with one extreme political sect on 100% of everything. I mean, look at how they treat J.K. Rowling is progressive as they get. She goes off the reservation for one issue, and look at like what she goes through. So I don't know. I'm not a hyper political person, but as far as we've had the discussions about it. As far as like whatever criticisms are flung at me, I'm on the internet. I understand I'm on the internet, and I don't really care what people think.
I'm glad you don't care. I don't think they know you support Amnesty International, gay rights, gay children at risk, all that. They don't think they're aware of that.
Nope.
Do you think by changing this beloved IP, are the intentions good? Are they trying to do something good for society?
Yes, I think some of them have that in their mind that the intentions are good, but we all know what gets paved with good intentions.
We do.
I think there are some true believers in there that feel like you're getting to a modern audience, and you're accessing children with certain messaging. The problem is I disagree with a lot of that, but beyond that, there's no such thing as a modern audience. That's the thing they're always chasing. It doesn't exist. Well, okay, I'm going to reframe that. It does, but there's not enough of them. What you want, there's always the audience. You want, if you're making Doctor Who or Star Trek or Star Wars, you want that to have the most mass appeal as possible.
Sure.
And as I said earlier, if you have a message you want to get across to get people to think about, don't answer the question for them. Present it to them with respect, which is not spoon feeding it to them. And that's what a talented writer does. Like even Alan Moore, we know where Alan Moore comes from politically. Thinks he's a wizard. He's a brilliant writer, but even he can write a really good Superman story. Like whatever happened to the man of tomorrow. He doesn't let that get in the way of telling a good story. J. Michael Straczynski, I loved Babylon 5.
Of course.
And I think Babylon 5 actually goes into some stuff that sometimes a story can go beyond the writer. And I think a lot of stuff that happened during COVID, you can look at some Babylon 5 episodes that, there was no intention there, but they really say a lot about it. So that's what good storytelling does. And it doesn't drive people away, because if your intention is like, I want people to think about this. Well, you want the most people to think about it as possible. So you don't talk down to them. You don't, like I said earlier, you don't like start a story going, listen up, bigots.
That's not the way to convince
Not the way to go. It's not the way to convince somebody. And it really divided fandom in a way that I've never seen in my life. Now, fandom has always been crazy and critical. And they're like, you thought you could change the Doctor into a woman and people wouldn't speak up. That's kind of crazy. Thinking about it now.
How many arguments did you see at the comic book store about this comic versus that one, this character?
Every day.
Every
and
day.
It was great. I loved them because they were good-spirited debates. And and I'm an idiot, so I'm sitting there arguing with customers.
Of course.
And we're like yelling at each other, but we're cool afterwards. But yeah, and I had to hear some crazy stuff. But you know what? I listened to them. I sat there. Art Bell, greatest interviewer ever.
Yep.
Non-confrontational. Like he'll kick back a little bit, but I listened to a lot of Art, and he will let people have their say with respect, right? And part of I think being on a live stream in particular is you are kind of running some customer service, and you got to kind of let people talk, let people do their thing, and listen to it. And if it's insane, you can kick back a little bit, but there's still a way to kick back without, calling the guy an a-hole.
Why do you think nerd culture, geek culture, which I come from, reading your book, it's almost like reading autobiography at some places. The way I came to Tolkien is the same way through the 70s cartoons and Star Wars. I remember waiting online as a kid. Changes me. Why do you think Hollywood went after this particular beloved IP with hardcore fans and want to change it? Why is that the target?
Well, I mean, my opinion on the matter is Hollywood went after it because they felt they were going to force the change that was needed. Consequences be damned, because this is what we know better. So with Doctor Who, we're going to take something away. That was the whole, because with Doctor Who, you can make a separate series with a female, they're Time Ladies, they were called. You could have done that. And Doctor Who fans would have watched it. You could have had a Doctor Who show and a Time Lady show.
You could have.
You could have done that. And they didn't do it because they felt like somehow you're being inclusive by taking something away. And we still see it to this very day, right? And it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't add to anything.
Has it worked with any of these?
No.
Honestly, none of these have worked.
You could have some side characters where it works, and I'm not militant when it comes to race or gender swaps when it's with a side character. Like in Harry Potter, if you make Susan Bones black, I don't care. But
Snape is a problem.
Snape is a problem. And Doctor Who was just as big of a problem. It fundamentally changes the show. It changes the past. So, and then what they did, knowing with Doctor Who, what a problem it would be, instead of just having the female doctor show up and leave, which they could have done, they're like, no, we need to reinforce her in the story. So we need to change the origin. So when they went back and changed the origin, and I heard way in advance, I had a friend who was working with Doctor Who I knew from the comic shop days, was telling me what's going on. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. He's all, no, they're going to change the origin of Doctor Who.
I learned a lot of this stuff from your videos, and I would say the same thing. Gary said this is going to happen. I'm like, there's no way they're going to do that. It's been 40 years. They're not going to do that. They're not going to retcon the 40 year. But they did.
They did it. And they did it to reinforce the female doctor. And they thought it was going to get to the new modern audience. Did
any of this bring in women? Did it bring in any of these?
Nope.
It didn't.
Nope.
So it's still the same people watching this IP in generally. Dudes.
It's the hardcore Doctor Who fans who are hanging on. And what Hollywood has failed to learn that is, you buy a really expensive IP for that built-in audience. That built-in audience are the ones who they shepherd new fans in. They are the custodians. You, the company, own it, but Star Trek fans are the ones who make more Star Trek fans.
My wife loves the MCU. My wife loves Star Trek because she would sit there. I would watch it.
Mm-hmm.
As the nerd who knows everything, she doesn't know anything. She just knows it's a fun, good story.
Yep.
She doesn't really watch any of that anymore.
No, because they're not fun. They're not fun.
Doctor Who, she became a fanatic. Back to Eccleston, she became a fanatic. And when Tennant came on, that's it. We were done. We were in. Well, we're out.
It's oh God, it's such a shame. I was just I'm going through some classic Who right now, and it's a show. It was made for nothing, and it really is just carried with its acting and its storytelling. Because you've got Tom Baker talking to a paper mache dude like it's tinfoil. It's terrible.
I loved it Tom Baker. I loved it when I was a kid. I didn't notice.
Some of the themes are really dark and
they are.
and magnificent. And I know that there was a lot of criticism in the UK about that, but I loved it as a kid.
Do you think things are coming back? The pendulum always swings.
I think so, but I think it's because I wish it was because, we see the error of our ways. We are villainizing and demonizing the paying customer, our audience, the people who got us here, and constantly saying we don't need you we're hunting for a modern audience. We're looking for a newer audience, right? And it's like, word of mouth is still the best marketing there is.
Telling a story is still a pretty good idea.
It's a good idea. And you forego that because you're searching for potential, right? I've never understood that. There's no data out there that says Gen Z was going to get into Doctor Who if you change it to a woman.
There's no data.
None. There's zero.
But they'll show up for a good story because
they will.
The audience is still the audience. So you went from being ignored to being attacked, and now you have influence.
Oof. I got attacked, and it was.
Well, you're still being attacked. You're going to be attacked for this.
Yeah.
As will I. And
you will.
I will.
Sorry.
I care so much.
Uh-huh.
Gary's my friend. If that's a problem, bye, Felicia. I don't care.
Thanks, brother.
I mean, I feel like I'm in a coma somewhere. I don't want to wake up. We do this for a living. So who cares?
Yeah, it's really kind of the greatest gig in the world.
Isn't it?
So when you get attacked on the internet, not everybody's going to, and this is no judgment nobody wants to get the emails I get or you get, or nobody wants to get that stuff. But, if you keep it in mind, I don't know, I've got the grading curve of life, or the stuff I've been through, I'm like, this is nothing. I'm not worried about it.
That's why I spent so much time with your story, because a lot of the hate you get really isn't warranted, because there's no misogyny in you. There's no racism. There's really no political leaning. You just want your stories told properly, and beloved IP just left alone. I think that's okay.
I think it's okay to adapt something properly, and it doesn't mean they have plenty of room in original material to do whatever messaging they want.
Well, you're influencing studios now. Do you feel that power is earned? Of having influence in Hollywood, because they know who you are. I know that for a fact.
Oh,
I talked to studio execs of all the big studios, and they know who Gary is, and Will, and everybody. And they're making decisions based on you guys.
Oh wow, that doesn't hit my mind very much at all. I try not because of where the relapse came in last time.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to keep things very much in check.
I think that's smart.
Just an idiot with a microphone, and
because you're back where you are at the comic book, you're hot shit again. You can't let ego Gary come back.
No,
because you'll lose it all.
No, I hope they listen to the people in the comment section and the people in the chat. I hope they, take a good look at that and see what people, because, during a live stream, we'll have people rewrite The Last Jedi or the last episode of Starfleet Academy, or we'll have a Robert Meyer Burnett on Friday Night Tights who pitched a better Starfleet Academy than the one one I would watch. So they're it's not all them slinging, whatever they're slinging.
So tell me about Friday Night Tights, because that's you're hundreds of episodes of that. How did that start?
400 episodes.
400. And what is FNT?
FNT is a shit show. It is it's a live stream that we do every Friday, and it is climbed up to 9 co-hosts, and we talk about pop culture every Friday. We've been doing it for this version of it for 6 years. I've been doing a Friday show for 8 years.
And it's true, you've never had anyone black or female on there. That's true.
Never, not once. No, nobody gay. No, never.
We're being sarcastic because you have.
Yes, a lot.
You have.
A lot. And
what we learn is fans are fans, and the labels don't even matter.
Nope.
So what makes FNT different? Because there's a bazillion of these shows.
There is. I think it's the good mix, the chemistry of personalities and no filter at all. And what we really try to lean on, like making you laugh. That's the whole point of the show, is to make you laugh. And it's just a bunch of people who like each other genuinely, shooting the shit for 3 or 4 hours. And it's no different than any other conversation of fans anywhere else that you have with your family or at a diner. And there's no plan to it at all. We kind of we bullet point some subjects. We get to about 3 of them. We go off on tangents. So there isn't any real structure.
Please
to the show.
Don't create any. Just leave it chaos.
I don't even think we know how. I don't know how.
I don't know what I'm doing either. So what for Forbidden Frontier is something I came across accidentally and didn't know that Gary did this. What is that show?
It is another passion of mine. Like you, I listen to Art Bell.
Have you ever heard of Art Bell and Dr. Demento?
Oh yeah, Dr. Demento is. I listened to Dr. Demento before Art Bell, like years and years.
Same.
The
70s.
Yeah, back in the 70s, and this is how I grew up. But yeah, with UFOs and Bigfoot and ancient civilizations, Eric Von Daniken, Charles Berlitz was like the gateway drug for a lot of people with the Bermuda Triangle.
For me, it might have been Graham Hancock in the 90s was the gateway to that kind of stuff. The pre-flood society, the fingerprints of the gods.
Graham, I think, graduated the subject to something way more legit.
Yes.
Like, I always, all respect to the late Eric Von Daniken, Chariots of the Gods. Then we go back to Velikovsky, who honestly I didn't know about till later.
Yes.
Where all of this comes from. And In Search Of.
Yes.
I watched In Search Of all the time.
Sure.
And X-Files, and remember the show Sightings?
Of course.
That was the so I've always been into this all my life and listened to art. But when Graham came around, he took the subject of ancient civilizations and made it more palatable, right? And did it honestly. And
as a real journalist.
As a real journalist who actually goes places and looks at these things and paid for it with his own money.
Because Art Bell was the best to ever do it, but a lot of it was wacky, man. He was always very respectful, but a lot of it was just wacky. But you read Graham's work, and this is serious stuff. And, Robert Schoch and even Randall Carlson, these are real scientists. This is real stuff.
It's real stuff. And, I mean, you can't undersell when Graham and Randall were doing them separately, but when they got together and did that on Joe Rogan, that really launched it. And that's why we have a lot more legitimacy in this, including a Netflix special with 2 seasons for Graham Hancock, which I never thought I'd see.
Nope.
And
they tried to cancel that.
They did. Mm-hmm. Ancient Apocalypse.
Yep, I defended him hard on the channel when he was attacked for being a racist.
Yeah.
It's like
that is the most ridiculous thing. It's like
you don't know anything about this man.
You obviously haven't seen his wife,
right?
So,
right,
it was very nice.
Right, so it was here we go again. But I'm always frightened. Like, I was just getting started. I'm not really controversial, but I am I go pretty hard against government and all of that. So when Joe Rogan, when CNN tried to cancel him, and they were going after Spotify, I was terrified because I was making a few bucks.
Yeah.
And it was like, if they canceled Joe, this all goes away.
Yep.
and Spotify stuck by him. And then everything started to relax. It's like everything started to change. I think it was that moment.
That was surprising
Yes.
that they stuck by it, because I know a lot of employees in there didn't want to stick by him.
Yep.
But I think they saw the investment and saw that Joe isn't what CNN was trying to make him out to be, which is just ridiculous.
He's not.
No, he's just a regular guy. Like,
He's just a guy.
He's just a dude, and he
all-
looks at things from a very dude perspective. And I think that I think it's really endearing, and that's why he's the best podcaster out there.
And all the things he criticized back in those days, you criticized, I did. Turns out we were right,
Yep.
which I knew the whole time. But we were right, and now we're allowed to be right. And Joe kicked that door in by,
Yes, he did.
by sticking to his guns.
Spotify sticking with it. Elon coming in and buying Twitter
Yes.
and changing that, which absolutely changed YouTube.
Yes.
I mean, and Facebook
Yes.
and everything else. YouTube is it ain't perfect, but it's way. I'm gonna break the streak. We haven't been demonetized on FNT in a long time.
Well, knock on wood.
Yeah.
I don't dodge that bullet every week, but I try.
I'm used to not doing. I was fine with it, but it's just what you can get away with now on YouTube, aside from a couple things.
What do you think happened? What?
I think when Elon exposed through the Twitter files, when they exposed all the government interference, because if they were interfering with Twitter, they're at Google right now. They're everywhere right now.
Sure.
They still are. But that had to get loosened up. And I also think advertisers, we can't discount the money factor in.
Nope.
So advertisers were losing it by acting, clutching their pearls and saying, we cannot show ads on this stuff. And they saw how much they were losing, how much money they were losing, because you could advertise on all this YouTube stuff. And
Joe was demonetized the whole time, and then
Yeah.
woke up one morning and it was just on.
Yep.
They didn't say anything, just quiet.
No.
Just
because the advertisers loosened up a little bit.
yeah. I would like to have 30 million people look at my ad.
Yep.
It's the same story. It's just about people and audience. It's not about point of view, really.
No. And it's not like it was, we look back on it and go, that was really common sense. And that was considered highly controversial. That's how we get caught up in this stuff.
It's one of the darkest times in our history. I'll never
Yep.
forget the day Jen walked in and said they're going to lock down the city. We were in LA at the time. They're going to lock down the city, close all businesses. And I laughed at her. I said, they can't do that. And they said they're going to do it for 2 weeks. I couldn't believe it. I stayed open.
Good for you.
Broke curfew, stayed open, and the studio just went to hell. No one would come in. No masks. They wouldn't come in. And we're out of business during the riots. That was the end of that.
The riots. Lovely riots.
Which weren't really covered on the news, but
Nope.
LA burned. I've never seen police cars upside down on fire before, but I did that week, and then that's when we left LA. So Forbidden Frontier is a great success. You guys really know your stuff. Like I look to you because I don't know anything. I'm just an entertainer. I look to you guys. You're the like the reporters kicking in the doors, following the stuff. I watched you live stream a congressional hearing. I think when you close. What do you think's going on with disclosure?
Oh God. I think we're in a worse shape now than we ever have been. So, and it's just because I've been following this as a hobby. So I know lots of bits and pieces, but you'd have to definitely go to the Richard Dolans of the world to for the expertise. Yeah, we covered that one, and that was frustrating. Just all the stuff that has to go on in the skiff. And I do believe, and it took me a while to get to this, I believe there is a faction in the government that really wants to let us know. Why? I don't know. I think there is some danger involved. I know there's the Stephen Greer point of view, where that all the aliens, if they're out there, if they're us, whatever they are,
Right.
they're nice. I don't know if I can buy that. Maybe it's a possibility. They could if they had the power to wipe us out, they could have wiped us out already.
Right.
There's certainly that.
Do you think they're out? Do you think it's extraterrestrials, aliens from other worlds? Or is it interdimensional? Is it future time traveling humans?
Yes.
Yes to all of
I
it.
think it's yes to all of those. I haven't decided yet. I go back and forth. It's definitely something. I think interdimensional maybe is what I'm falling on now. That they've been here for a long time. That they're in the water. That they're
lean
in the
there, too.
ocean.
Yes.
That's where I'm leaning. But that could change. That could change. But with that last government hearing where we just heard nothing and the same stuff over and over again, it was discouraging. So I don't know where the UFO topic goes now. I always thought if we get disclosure, it won't be from a government. And even if a government came out, if Trump or whatever president of another party came out and said, "Yep, we talked to Zorg from the Pleiades," and where we have half of the country's not going to believe it.
They're not.
Just because of the politics of it. So it'll have to be something insane like the Phoenix Lights, a UFO flying slowly over a big city where we can get multiple camera angles, and then still half the population will think it's AI.
Yes, they will.
It's in a bad place right now. Don't know where you go.
You're into the ancient stuff. You've actually gone into the field.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Where have you been?
Been to Peru and Egypt so far, and we're going to go to Japan. We're going to go check out megalithic Japan.
What, Yanaguni?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not going to be diving. But no, where the palace is, just so the polygonal stones. We're going to look at there's quarries, there's giant stuff on there, but going to Sacsayhuaman for the first time. I don't know if you've ever been there. It is mind-blowing, utterly mind-blowing. And it really, I can hear all this stuff all day long and I can read all the Graham Hancock, but when you go there and you see how in the hell did they do this? And I don't think it was aliens. I always think it was humans. We were pretty industrious. I don't think it's that crazy to think that there was a civilization that was maybe as advanced, let's say, as the Romans were, 10,000 years before the Romans or 8,000 years before the Romans, that got wiped out during a apocalypse, basically, during a cataclysm that's looking like actually happened.
It is looking like that.
Yeah.
With Göbekli Tepe and Mankuku Tarla. It looks like they were here. Great Pyramid, Egyptians, built or found?
I think built from plans, for lack of a better term, from blueprints from a previous culture.
Interesting. Previous culture.
So maybe there was a foundation there already that they. I think the pyramids have been rebuilt.
There's some
probably
evidence
multiple times.
There's some evidence.
Kind of like the Sphinx for sure. The Sphinx has been put back together. We were just there in Egypt and we saw, the erosion evidence that Robert Schoch and John Anthony West had exposed many years ago. Yeah, they're putting a wall over it.
They're putting a wall over that?
Yep.
So you went hard after Zahi Hawass after he was on Joe's show.
Yeah, he was ridiculous.
Do you think he's gatekeeping or do you think he's protecting his culture? There's a national identity to Egypt, to Egyptians that they're proud of and should be.
Yes, I think
civilization.
I think that is the motivation behind some of the roadblocking we're seeing on some of the archaeology is they're trying to protect Peru. Peru's a lot cooler about it than Egypt is. I got to be careful. I don't trust the things Zahi Hawass says. I think he's a complete I think he's shady as hell.
It wasn't a good look for him on that show.
And no, he did more good for Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson and
he really did.
Robert Schock than anybody could have dreamt after that appearance. Always talking about his book, taking credit for stuff that he didn't discover, and some people who have met him said he's a complete nice guy, but the impression I get is he is stopping progress there. And maybe, tell us why. I think the most exciting thing is the labyrinth in Egypt. Ben Van Kerkwijk.
This is the Huara labyrinth.
Yeah. Has done some great work on this. Not that he discovered it, but he's done some great work. Uncharted X has done some great work and great videos on these. And I think that would be the most exciting discovery of the 21st century. We need it, and there's some politics behind it. It's getting flooded out, and that's because of the water is being diverted because they need to help agriculture,
which they do.
They need to find a way to divert that water so we can drain it and figure out what's down there.
And we don't have much time for that labyrinth.
No, we don't.
And LIDAR has shown that we know there's structures down there, and that labyrinth has been discussed by Ovid, Pliny the Elder, all these great historians, Strabo, all visited and said it goes down. They saw 3,500 rooms. It goes down 3 stories. It's there. Some have said there's a giant oval ring made of metal in the center of it.
The exact same size as not exact, but close to the same size as the Tic Tac.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's wild, and I would love to know, and why not? But, Zahi seems to stop a lot of that stuff. And you would think, Egypt relies a lot on tourism.
Mm-hmm.
That would be
I'd love to see that.
I would. I'd go back.
Mm-hmm.
I'd go back. It was definitely worth going, for sure. It was amazing seeing some of that stuff. Egypt's an interesting country. But
You've got your media empire. What do we have?
Oh, boy.
We've got FNT, Forbidden Frontier. You got your videos, Nerdrotic Daily.
Yeah.
What else are you doing?
Oh, my God. I think that's pretty much wraps. That's it.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That keeps me busy. I've got a couple editors, X-Ray Girl, Cord Black, Perry Chan. And we do tours once in a while with Michael Collins from Wandering Wolf.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing the Japan thing. That takes up all my time.
And you're living the dream now.
Absolutely. This is the greatest gig in the world.
You said practice gratitude daily.
Yep.
What's the mechanics of that? Because some days are shitty, man.
That's when it's the most important. So
what do I do? How do you do it?
Oh, you catch yourself I catch myself in a bad mood or feeling excessively negative about just like really mundane stuff in life. And it's a mindset of turning it around by thinking of three things that you're thankful for. And the first one could be, wow, I've got, there's a wife out there who loves me for some reason. I don't know why, but she does. My kids like me. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Not every kid loves their father. And we have this amazing job like that thanks to the support of so many brilliant people out there. It's definitely something we work at, right? But it's like, I've said it before, it's like winning a lottery that you work really hard to get to.
That's a great way of describing it. You going to meetings?
Yes. Go to meetings.
So, and we'll wrap up with this. There are people listening now, because I know they're out there, that are addicted, that are struggling, depression, they're in booze and drugs to cope. Can you tell them who the most important person in their life is?
Oh, they are.
They are.
They are. They're the most important person in their lives. And people love them. People care about them. And the world can still benefit from them turning stuff around. It's never too late. It's never, ever too late. And if you try sobriety, I can promise you it will not be easy, but I can also promise you it will get better way faster. Your life will get better way faster than you think. And it just give it a try. People can try rehab. I don't want to discourage anybody from getting sober any way they want, but definitely whatever you do, make sure you go to meetings too. They're free, and you'll find some of the most welcoming, forgiving people on earth in there. And just make some friends. See what happens.
You're an inspiration. You're the proof that it works. Gary, thanks for coming in. It's been a joy.
Cheers. It's been awesome. Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
That was Gary Beekler. I know his name is spelled wrong. Everyone calls him Boochler. Gary Beekler, the prison story, the comic shop, the relapse, the comeback, Doctor Who, the Access Media. We covered a lot. Gary's book covers the old Folsom story in full, and it's a different kind of read than you'd expect from a pop culture guy. If you only know him from Nerdrotic, buckle up. The book is wild. I was going to say in graphic. It's not that graphic, but it's pretty intense. So there's not much to analyze about what we talked about here, because Gary is my friend. But here's a few nuggets. The Doctor Who situation he described tracks with what actually happened. Series 11 opened huge, over 9 million viewers in the UK. Then the new showrunner retconned the Doctor's origin in Series 12, rewriting 55 years of canon in a single episode. Ratings collapsed. The BBC eventually replaced everyone and brought the original showrunner back. We'll see how it goes, but I'm not getting my hopes up. Gary mentioned Disney was racking up some serious losses. Well, Disney did report roughly $1.5 to $2.5 billion in content write-downs in 2023. Gary's math is correct. Gary is controversial, but he probably shouldn't be. His grievances align with what a lot of people were already feeling. He was just one of the first people to call it out. The pattern he identified, putting politics ahead of story, showed up in Doctor Who, in Star Trek, and Marvel, and Star Wars, and Lord of the Rings, and now in Harry Potter. He called it every time, before most people were even paying attention. Gary's memoir is Waiting from Prison to YouTube on Amazon, and it's a great read. His channel is Nerdrotic. Friday Night Tights goes live every Friday. Forbidden Frontier is where he covers ancient mysteries, UAPs, and Y-Files kind of stuff. It's probably better than the Y-Files. The links are down below. Until next time, be safe, be kind, and know that you are appreciated. I was a little mumbly. Do another take? Leave it in.
In Area 51, a secret code inside the Bible said I would. I love my UFOs and paranormal fun, as well as music, so I'm singing it like I should. But then another conspiracy theory becomes the truth, my friends, and it never ends. No, it never ends. I feel the crap cat and got stuck inside Mel's hole with MK Ultra. Of being only too aware. Did Stanley Kubrick fake the moon landing alone on a film set, or were the shadow people there? The Roswell aliens just fought the smiling man, I'm told, and his name was Cold. And I can't believe I'm dancing with the fishes. Head go fish on Thursday nights with AJ2, and the Wi-Fi's have the beat all through the night. All I ever wanted was to just hear the truth, so the Wi-Fi's have the beat all through the night. The Mothman sightings and the solar storm still come. to Agatha, the secret city underground. Mysterious number stations, planet Serpo 2, Project Stargate, and what the Dark Watchers found. In a simulation, don't you worry though. The Black Knight satellite, it told me so. I can't believe I'm dancing with the fish. Head of fish on Thursday nights with AJ2, and the Wi-Fi's on the beat all through the night. All I ever wanted was to just hear the truth, so the Wi-Fi's on the beat all through the night. Head of fish on Thursday nights with AJ2, and the Wi-Fi's on the beat all through the night. So the Wi-Fi's on repeat all through the night. Gertie loves to dance. Yeah, Gertie loves to dance on the dance floor because she is a camel, and camels